Looking at our situation as Southern Cameroonians, we realize that we have been at war for far too long, according to Dr. Amos Sawyer. While we have been at war, our infrastructure, the little that we have that had been taken away from us, continues to be destroyed, whether it's villages, whether it's schools, whether it's whatever infrastructure we have. Some of our towns, the roads have been graded, nobody to reconstruct. Our children have not been to school. So our economy has declined, our environment has declined for at least 75 years. And while all this is going on, other countries are making progress. Some of them 25 years in advance, while we have receded 75 years. And yet, we have the manpower, we have the resources, we have the intellectual capacity to build and make better. And we can catch up and leapfrog, go further and pass these people because we are able. We are Southern Cameroonians. I want to take the example of building a home. All over the world, people live in houses. In the north of Canada, you have the Eskimo population that they call the Inuits, and they live in igloos. If I was going to build a house in Victoria, which we call Limbe today, I would not build an igloo in Limbe. Likewise, if I was going to Santa, with the cold in Santa, as you know, to build a house, I will not build a calaboose house because the cold will kill me. So you want to build with 3 types of packages in view. With the manpower that can build the house appropriate to the environment, so that you plan according to your environment. You want to build with the resources that you have, a budget, because a house that is not completed is not a house. A house is a place where people live. So if you start your house and you did not plan well, you don't have the budget to complete it, you have not built a house. You cannot be counted among the people who have built.
Sorry to interrupt. Should you put your slides up?
Okay, no, you put them up. Yeah, please, you put them up while I'm talking because I'm going to be distracted.
Okay.
Yes, please do. So, your design has to be appropriate for you. You don't want to go take somebody's design where your people cannot build that design. Because the 3 things must come together: the design, the plan of your house, the manpower to build that house and the resources, the materials to do that, and the budget, the money to do that. And if you take your good plan, it makes sense, you can take it to the bank and you can get a loan. We, as Southern Cameroonians, we do not have a folder that we can take to the bank, a plan like this post-conflict reconstruction plan. So what we have, if you see in that picture, is everybody struggling on their own side to get more arms, to build bigger. And what is this picture? We need to disarm. We need to be prepared. We are just like the Israelites. Going back to the promised land can take us 40 years or 40 days. Which do we choose? Because if we have a good plan, we can get the bank to give us the loan that we need. We can get the resources, the finances to do the work and to build us a beautiful house that will be our home. That is what this presentation is about. It is to motivate us, to give us a can-do spirit. When we go to talk to the international community and they ask us, what kind of country do you want to have? What do we tell them if we don't have a plan? But we can make a plan, because if we don't, which is our own and which we own because we've worked on it, we can be given a plan. Look at the way Francophone Africa came out of independence. They were given an arrangement because they did not have their own. And this is the arrangement falling apart today. So let me just give you an outline of what I'm going to talk about. With this introduction, I'm going to talk a bit about peace building and state building. Peace building is the work that we must do, the framework that Atta told us about, how we struggle to get where we want to be. But as we do that, we have to build a state, because they are going to ask you, are you going to be like Somaliland, or are you going to be like Eritrea? Are you going to be like South Sudan, or are you going to be like Rwanda? We want to be the Southern Cameroons that we want for ourselves. So we must plan it before they impose something else on us that we don't want to be. And the going back and forth with working on the plan would be retrospective as it would be prospective. Retrospective means looking back to what we had before, which are the good things that we love about the Southern Cameroons pre-independence, how we can put those things back, the values that we had, our people had, how we can do it. And then we look prospective in the future with all the IT, all the innovations, all the development. How can we marry these two? So we look retrospective and prospective to back to where we were, the good country that we had, all that parliamentary systems, the things that we liked about us, you know, and people talk about PWD and people talk about cooperatives, etc., etc. We can put those together back, and then we can look prospective in front and bring all the IT platforms to work for us as a country. So that's what I want to do with you today. So we'll talk about the peace building, and then we talk about sea and air travel into Southern Cameroon. If we were given the independence today, because we've been asking for a fact-finding mission, we've been asking for a peacekeeping force. If those things were really accorded us to be, what then do we do? So we got to know ourselves how we can establish a government, which is the public sector, and how we establish a private sector. Because everybody knows, if you look at the country called Cameroon today, if you were asking anybody, they will tell you a lot of things that we don't want to see about Cameroon. So let's go to the next slide, and we talk about the things that we don't want to see. Definitely, our infrastructure, institutions, economy, security systems, cultural systems, traditional, the social fabric of West Cameroon is completely gone. They took that away. Now, we want to give our people, reassure them of opportunity, of the promise of every single citizen in the country. And our leadership, therefore, should be looking to rebuild the soul, the mind, and the body, the moral values, the moral fabric of our institutions. So, what do we want to eliminate? Definitely, we want to eliminate corruption. Because today, If we put anything to the international community that looks like it could have corruption, nepotism, the dictatorship, the personality cult, and honestly, you go into the system and into our country, you see alcoholism, public urination, drug abuse, even among school children, the unclean environment. It was the Canadian attaché who was with us in Toronto who said, Yaoundé is such a dirty city, we could get cholera in no time. And we returned from Toronto and there's cholera there in our country. The slum development, the lack of town planning, the poor quality of services in every sector. Here is a country that clamps down even on entrepreneurship and the private sector. And we think that it is the government sector that would be the engine of growth instead of the private sector. So we want to keep government small and nimble and expand opportunities in the private sector, improve the quality of education, emphasize innovation and technological advances so that our citizens can implement their businesses, grow in an environment that promotes private sector establishment. Because it's only in Cameroon that you see somebody in public service who is on a fixed income richer than an entrepreneur because what? Of corruption. So here we are with our peace building and state building. The paper that was presented before is exactly the peace building paper that we need, that framework. And now I am providing you with the state building. And these have to come together. Okay? But we look at what has happened. So our diplomacy will need that prospective analysis and retrospective analysis. And while we're doing it now, we see the things that we need and we can fix the plan. Building our aircraft as we fly it and building a better aircraft as we take into account what our people need, what they have suffered, and we fix it for everybody so that we create a meritocracy. Now, let's say all of these things work. The first thing that people in the diaspora, all of us sitting around this meeting right now, would want to go home. We only have one airport that is of any kind of decent way, is in Bamenda. We've had the peacekeeping force approved. The war, there's a ceasefire. How do we get home? What if our neighbors to the east refuse, they're not going to give us a visa on our stamps to enter through Douala? As we are building this aircraft, we have to be thinking about travel so that we get authorization, we get negotiation in our diplomacy with the countries that can easily provide us air travel into Bamenda, for instance, where they can easily say to us, yes, you are Southern Cameroonians, you have a German passport, you have a Norwegian passport, you have a French passport, or you have an Italian passport, or whatever, you have a US passport or Canadian passport, we will stamp it for you to be able to enter your country. And that is what we're looking at on the screen right now. We have seaways, we have internal, we have the road. You can come in from ECOC. Good for us that the African Development Bank focus and build that road. Otherwise, how will we get home? And yet, everybody would want to get home. So these are things that we should be thinking about. It's like we are standing on Mount Zion and looking at the promised land. We want to get there. That is it. Okay. So next slide, please. Next slide. Hello, Herman.
Herman. Oh.
Okay, yes. So after we think about how we get home, how we get in and out of the country, how we do transportation, take in goods to rebuild, we think about resettlement and security, because we have refugees everywhere. They need to come back. They need to resettle into their communities. What are we going to do to make sure that they can come home, provide the security for them, get back into their normal activities? So those are the kinds of things that we need to be thinking about, when at the very beginning, when we are given the things that we want to see to rebuild our country. And we know that our fighters have suffered the worst trauma. Our people have been tortured. How do we take care of war veterans, of trauma victims? Because if we go back to La République, this is the one thing that they will never do for us. They're your people, take care of them. They just shoot them and leave them on the street, and the women are burying the dead. So, what can we do? This is something that we need to think about. And then, of course, we have to think at the level of the community itself. People have committed atrocities. The reconciliation that some of us were talking about this morning, how do we turn those guns into plows and move from the war picture that you're seeing there to the peace, so everybody accepts the peace and accepts the principles of peace. So look at this picture. The people are bringing their weapons and putting it in front of the dove of peace and leaving war behind. That is what we should begin to look at after and think about those things. So as we move forward, we get into the area of the resettlement and the security. So move one slide ahead and we'll talk about the building blocks. So war rehabilitation, we are considering that, and justice and security, as well as institution building, because we no longer have the institution. What is our government, our economy going to look like? And these are the important aspects that we need to bring together, to make sure that we have a country that works. Because we need to show this to the international community so that they can have confidence that we who are in this position have thought about it, given serious thought to what kind of government we want to establish, what kind of community we want to reestablish in the villages, in the towns, what we want to do, town planning, and all the things that I talked about earlier. So we have to look at that and rebuild. So here, I actually propose 3 pillars of government: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. So let me start with the executive. The executive government that is slim and fit for purpose. Anybody who tells you that a country the size of Southern Cameroons should have 60 ministries or 80 ministries is simply replicating the corruption that we have, because that in Cameroon right now, no sponsor will accept that kind of thing. And it's not even good for us. Why do we want to bring back the corruption? We will definitely have political parties. So when the international community tells us, speak with one voice, it doesn't mean that we should drop all our groups that we belong to and form one single group. No. People have their reasons for being in the groups that they are. But our common objective is what we should hold together. And that is We need to build a new country for ourselves that works for us and works for our children. And what are the kinds of elements that would go directorates, commissions, um, boards, authorities, those things that will actually help us to, that should not be under the executive, but should be standalone. So listen to this. So if you have, for instance, we need a Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we need a Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning, we need a Ministry of Justice, of Agriculture, of Education, of Health, of Commerce and Industry, of Internal Affairs to manage the relations between and within the counties. We need youth and sports, obviously, because we're sports oriented. We need gender and social welfare because we have to take care of the vulnerable and women, and Ministry of Transport. And that is it, 12 ministries. The other departments, administration, authority, commission, agencies can be like communications and tourism. We have a culture of archives, antiquities, treasures that we need to take care of, that we can have museums around, and we can make that a standalone agency. It is important that we have accountability and integrity institutions that are out of government, that can actually put an eye on government. And those, whether it's governance, it's public procurement, or auditing, those have to be standalone. Internal revenue and taxation should not be within a government, because as like the IRS or whatever, should be also a standalone. But I would propose an office of the diaspora, because when we have a new country, it's not that everybody's going to live their life in Europe, in America, in Australia, and come back to Cameroon or in other parts of, come back to Southern Cameroon. We have to have relations with our diaspora, because we heard Dr. Folefak say how much the diaspora contributes to the how much diaspora contributes to the economy. And then we'll be thinking about our central bank, our currency, and like I've asked the Bank of Amazonia, what will be the transitional currency that we will use until we create our? Those kinds of things, we have to start thinking about them now. So, but we want to create an environment that is a true meritocracy for everybody. That if you're a carpenter, if you're a farmer, if you're a mechanic, if you're a lorry driver, if you're a teacher, all of us are respected. And I'll take but let me just finish on the legislature, because this is also something that we need to think about. The second arm of government. We have already a parliament, a House of Parliament, or we call it whatever, a Senate or House of Representatives, and then we have House of Chiefs. Those are those decisions that will be made by us. But this is the law-making body. And we need an environment, a country where nobody is above the law, that people obey the law. And that's why we need the judiciary, because we have to have a Supreme Court and the court system and the national security systems under the judiciary. So we have the police, immigration, border patrol, central investigations or intelligence, those kinds of things. All right. And when we look at prison and we see what our people have gone through, we want back, when we go retrospective, the production prison that we used to have. So people go into prison, yes, they've committed crimes, but what is the cause of that? Maybe it's because they didn't have the skills, the training, the education. So transformative, social transformation should be the basis of prison, instead of just brutal punishment like we have to do. And you see me with my Release Them campaign. I believe that a lot of the people who are in jail today should not be in jail, because they did not commit any crime. Cameroon is simply taking our young people and putting them in jail, removing them from the productive life that they are in society. And I think that that should be the case. So here is basically the government, and then we have the private sector. But let me go through two sectors that are important to us. We are agriculture people. I just bring some aspects. I have listed these ministries and departments of the executive branch. It is left for the professionals to actually put in the meat into this. For instance, if you take the Ministry of Agriculture, okay, education is on the screen, so let me deal with education. So education is one ministry, not 6 ministries or whatever they have in Cameroon. We have the few departments of administration and human resources, which is training. You have basic education, vocational and technical education, secondary education, higher education and teacher training, research, innovation, and curriculum development. These departments, and we can look at it everywhere, any way we like. But what is going to be really important is that the education sector actually performs its policy role, performs its regulatory role, performs its role of making sure that the education that people receive, our children receive, is able to provide for them in our society. So that children go to school and they acquire the skills that they need to be productive citizens in our society. And that's where we have a lot of the research and innovation and all of this curriculum development. So we always assess, are children learning the right things that they need to be productive citizens? So we move to agriculture because that's where I think that we had some innovation. Looking retrospectively, we had Department of Cooperatives, Department of Community Development, a department that worked on farm to market rules, research, training, and extension work, fisheries, animal husbandry, all of those things. What I recall, and that is one of the things that make our country such an eyesore. If you are a farmer, you want to be a productive farmer. So you spend more time on your farm than you spend beside the road trying to sell food or your harvest. So what do we have? We have cooperatives. I remember in Bamenda, we used to have the cooperative store near the treasury. And you go to the cooperative store, you can buy potatoes, carrots, eggs, whatever that you need. The food market where it is located is such an eyesore. Because what happens? At the end of the day, you throw everything into the back of the food market. But if we had a structure of cooperatives, the people who farm, in the evening when they come back from the farm, a cooperative vehicle for that village just comes to collect what they have harvested, weigh what you have, and give you a receipt for your produce that they say you produced or you harvested 60 kilograms of potatoes. It's taken from you. The next morning, it's in the store, in the cooperative store. You have your receipt. And at the end of the month, you go to your credit union and you show your receipt. You compare with what the cooperative department has put into your account as a farmer. And you spend the rest of your time, on your farm, knowing that what your produce is being sold for you. And this is how the value chain can bring the private sector. Next slide, please. So the private sector comes into every ministry, and you have, for education, we didn't talk about the private schools, but they are there, and we know that our communities thrive on private education system. But here in the agriculture sector, you don't have to have people every day harvesting, sitting by the roadside, and the drinking the dust. No. What you do, you harvest, the cooperative takes the food, your produce, they give you whatever you need, you go back. And then the people who want to make, whether it's frozen vegetables, they collect the vegetables at the end of the day, they wash them, they package them, they process them, and they sell them. So you have now a value chain that develops from the cooperatives, enters into the trading of fresh food, fruit even. The people who want to make packages of fruit juice just come to the cooperative in the evening. The juice, the fruit that was not sold, they take it away and they do process it, and you reduce post-harvest loss by doing that. So here is the private sector coming together with the government public sector. And we can see that for every single sector that we have. So, we are moving now, and there we go. We are moving now, leaving the private sector, the public sector, and entering the private sector. The public sector is there to encourage the private sector because that's where jobs are created. The country that we have right now, look where every day they're expecting, people to wait for the government to create jobs, and they stifle the private sector. If you're going to go set up a business right now, you never can tell what's going to be your taxes. So you reduce the taxes for the people who incentivize them to create businesses and jobs, and by reducing the taxes, you make sure that there is no tax evasion, that the customs officers, the taxation people don't steal the government money and put it in their pocket. You see, so that the rationale is there. But we see that with this, we're going to have a lot of challenges. Just think about this framework that I've described and think, what kind of challenges would you have? And please type in the chat so we can all just think about the kinds of challenges. And then we will come and discuss that. But everybody just take a few minutes and write in the chat what you see as the challenges that Southern Cameroons will face in this post-conflict program. But the reason we need one to start working on it right now is that we need to bring our professionals to put their heads together to design for us a country that works for us, not one that will be imposed on us. And if we've done it, we justify it, we budget maybe the first 5 years. And one of the reasons that I know that peacekeeping forces remain in countries for long is really because the country didn't have a plan. The plan is being made while the peacekeeping force is there. We can tell our friends, we just need a peacekeeping force for 5 years to make sure that we can put our country in order. And after that, we kiss you goodbye and you can take off, and our country works for us. So let's look at the kind of, let's go to the chat and see what people have been able to put down as, okay.
I have a question before you take the challenges.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, this is Ashu Kingsley. I would like that to find out if there's a specific model which has been worked out and if this model have any references, because you seems to have tilted the study or the presentation towards the Rwandan model. But to me, the Rwandan model is a kind of a failure because it hasn't captured two factors. One, a pool of international labor and a free trade zone. Because if you are going to build a Southern Cameroon that captures a modern perspective with respect to post-conflict development, it has to be able to have a reflex of what the Dubai or the United Arab Emirates have been able to do, so that you do not just have to build places, you should be able to pool labor, both international level, that makes Southern Cameroon a kind of a hub, both in business, free trade, across West and Central Africa and even across Africa. So that's something which I would like you to capture in your next presentation, or what model you people intend to put together.
I have not chosen, we know of the Rwandan model. I have not chosen the Rwandan model. Neither have I chosen the Dubai model. I want us, Southern Cameroonians, to choose our own model. That's why I say that it works for us. I'm not taking anybody's model, but I understand where you're coming from. So thank you very much for that. Now, let's look at the challenges, because they're going to be there. So what have people proposed? Okay. These are the things that I looked at. Yes, post-traumatic stress disorder. You can see it is there. Professor Herman, can you go through what people have proposed, and then we see how they fit into what we have here? Hello? We agreed to do this so I can rest my throat. As you hear, I have a little problem.
I'm just trying to see how to display. I'll read through the chat.
Yes,
unfortunately, I cannot. I'm having difficulties. I just realized they have made chat such that I cannot copy and paste.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I was
but just
copying, but
I think you should just read through them.
Just
because
read through
most of us here can read them.
Yes, and then we'll go
okay.
through these challenges and see the mitigating measures, because it's very important. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so we have insecurity problem, corruption, increase in illiteracy.
Mm-hmm.
Just give me a second as I scroll down. Okay.
The PTSD.
Yes, please give me, my screen is not cooperating, I think, because
I can read them.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, thank you,
please.
Ato. Thank you, because I'm screen sharing at the same time. It is
Okay.
not
No,
cooperating.
sorry to put that on you. Thanks.
So the first one is from Comrade Eric Nji. He talked about insecurity problems, corruption, increase in illiteracy.
Yeah.
The second one is from Comrade AQ, Q as in Queen, who spoke about one big challenge will be how to deal with PTSD.
Okay, it is there.
The next one, again, is back to Comrade Erinji, poverty, poor infrastructure.
Okay.
Then I sent one, educating the grassroots on the plan, and Western interests that don't want to see us prosper, because there are cases where they have destroyed infrastructure. And then Mandible, the challenges are brood of vipers we have now who champion themselves as leaders with no vision.
I will call that those criminals. Yes. Okay.
Then AQ is back. Resettlement of those who have lost everything.
Resettlement,
of those who have lost everything. Mandible, we are here to support. Okay. Then I think those are the only challenges.
Okay. So we're going to go through some of these, and let me allay your fears. We have been using the German model of skills training and sandwich courses in Liberia. And the reason we use those is because, first of all, Germany was actually a sponsor of the Liberian peace process. We pray that they are our sponsors. They have a skills training program that tried to provide skills for young people. But as Dr. Amos Sawyer told us, by the time the Liberian war had ended, there was a large illiterate population. So education and illiteracy is something that we really need to put an eye on. And that's why the community schools that we are trying to initiate in some communities are really important. Adult education, non-formal education. There are models that we can use, pre-packaged learning materials that we can provide to actually give our children, they call it now, remedial education. So we can do that. Insecurity, if we have a peacekeeping force, the insecurity might not come from our neighbors to the east, but our own boys who have actually acquired weapons. So that's why the DDR process that you see in Cameroon right now is fake. It cannot happen. When you demobilize and demilitarize an environment, it has to be when there is no more fighting, when the ceasefire has taken place. And then you can recruit the young people who had weapons and take them into a program that actually will also, they call it a D. So immediately it will rehabilitation. So the process actually detoxification. Thank you. That's the word. So the word is detoxification, because a lot of our boys now, they've done a lot of drugs and they really need to be detoxified. So that will help them deal with the PTSD, and then they will put in counseling in place. And this is, for me, one thing that La République will never do. And that's why I put it last year. It's the last thing that they will do, but we have to really prioritize. When you talk about those Western countries that could try to sabotage us, France is there right there. And then the criminals among us. But communicating, we must have a way of communicating the plan, so much so that we have the buy-in of everybody. We can show how we are implementing the plan. Just the kind of things that we've been doing with the CSOs here. So our people come to understand what the challenges of implementing are, what targets are being what targets are we reaching and succeeding in, the challenges that we are having, and how we plan to take care of the things that we are failing in. The big challenge for us as countries that have had joint sovereignty is actually debt bifurcation. We've seen that La République has been very wasteful. They've taken COVID money, and it's not just COVID gave there, all kinds of loans that they've taken, even from bilaterals. Some India, you have some tractors that are rotting in the south region there. You know, they haven't made use of the wasted resources, and we need to come and look at the bifurcation of them. I think that is the one sticking point that we'll have. And then, of course, take natural resources. On infrastructure sabotage, if you look at our electricity and internet and all of that, that's the kind of structure that I talk about, that where sabotage will come from. But we can find countries that can provide us thermal energy very quickly to put into the system, where we can actually have our electricity, and those things. Yeah. Okay, so I want to stop at this level and to just say, wait, hang on a second. Do we have a final slide, please? Do we have a final slide? Yes. So this is what we've been doing. We have the skills, we have the resources, but we've not been using it, right? And that's why all the ladders are lying down there. We have crabs in the bucket, and we're not. Yes, and we're not. Somebody is talking over my head. Could you just
Please mute yourself, you're disturbing.
Yes, please mute. All right, thank you. I just want to say that this presentation is for us to really think about, use our sector skills, whether we're in the health sector, whether we're in commerce, we are marketing, whether we're in IT, all of that, to actually build a plan how we want our country to look like. I am going to share my notes because, of course, I had to rush through this, and I really didn't focus on the points. But if any group would like me to come and do this presentation, I will do that. And I'll also make my notes available to all of you so you can see, add the things that you want to add, and then we can come together under the framework that Ato and his people of the town hall did. And I will explain again to you and work through things so that we get this country, our framework, to be a country that actually works for all of us. Because the biggest what we have is the fear of getting there. We need to be bold enough to look back and say, what we are leaving behind. If we go back there, just imagine what we would be. If we fail in this search for our own country, we will be treated worse than slaves. Already, we are our people have suffered so much. We want to remind ourselves about that and build a country that works for us. So, thank you very much. I'll take questions. Thank you.
Well, yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this. Let me turn on my camera. Yeah, thank you for this very brilliant presentation, which you painstakingly put together, you and Professor Herman. I wish our people could appreciate what you've done. It is amazing that when there are meetings of gossip and trivialities and intra-fightings and stories of scams and embezzlement, our people go there in droves. When there is something very important, most important to our future, we don't get the attention it deserves. That notwithstanding, those of us who are here to appreciate what you're doing will keep marching on. Thank you. So we have a couple of hands up. We have Shay, and then we have Mandible. Shay, if you can go ahead, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, Maggie, thank you very much for the presentation. I just have an idea. You might add up to it. I'm thinking about a national vocational training program. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm thinking of. That should help our population to gain at least basic skills to get a job and things which they can carry out and make a living of. Thank you.
Yeah, that's correct. So that's a comment. Yeah, that's fine. It's not a question. Yes, I agree with you fully. And like I talked about, the German model is where yes, absolutely. Yeah. Mandible?
Yes, Mandible, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Yaah Maggie. I just want to really appreciate the time, effort that you've put into bringing this presentation. It's one of a kind. It's something which we've never really witnessed before. And given the fact that you've not really been, I know you've been working in the background your own way, but not really coming out and standing out as a leader, which I look at you personally as a leader, that you're presenting something that has a vision for our people, something that at least we are in war, but we know why we are now fighting this war, because you're giving us reasons why we need our own country. This is the kind of leadership quality that I appreciate. This is the kind of leadership quality that I think that, Arthur just said it. This is a meeting which should have brought thousands and thousands of Amazonians, both in the diaspora, everywhere, to come and listen to these post-construction ideas and how we can actually go out and actually even have that knowledge, even when we are talking with others, to educate others about our own country. This is the kind of information that the people back at home will need. I'm not going to give a really bad remark now because this is a respectable, presentation, but I will leave my feedback because this really bleeds my heart, because I sit and I wonder, right? We have this kind of people like yourself among us, and then we've sat for 5 years listening to total, I don't want to use foul language, but this patriarchy intertwined in hegemonic masculinity that one cannot even understand. People with no reasoning, no knowledge of how things work. We've left them mislead our people, led our people to die, and these people are still sat. And the pain is, it is us, some of us, still looking at these hoodlums. I will use that word without any paraphrasing it. I am so vexed in my heart that we had people like yourself with all this knowledge that you could bring hope to our people, a way to work. And we have some people, I don't know where they are from. They think we are in some kind of a movie with real people losing their life. People back at home, I know, that have lost businesses, people that own businesses that they were employing our brothers, our sisters, our cousins, and they were making a living. They have all crumbled into pieces. And we have people sat somewhere that they don't own no property, they own no land, they employ nobody, they are making decisions, shouting down the throats of our parents, conducting them like they are kids, that they don't even know who these people are. I just really want to appreciate what you've said today. And my remark is, whatever little knowledge that we have, that will see this, your vision comes to fruition, I'll be part of that support in my own little way, with my own little knowledge I can provide in order for us to bring this world to an end. Thank you very much.
Thank you too. It's for all of us. When you talk about take jobs in the public sector, actually, there is no job that should not be advertised. Every single position should be advertised. So we know the amount of experience, the amounts of educational qualities that you want to bring into the job. And everybody will be recruited through the process where, and vetted, yes, vetted, and you go into the job and you get promoted with, the as I say, the process of promoting people will show from your productivity. You have your timelines, your deadlines, your whatever packages. So I would say the people of each sector will develop their sector very well, whether it's the justice sector, the health sector, the commerce and industry, mines, foreign affairs. Everybody would have the opportunity. Yeah. All right, let's hear from others, please.
Yes, we have Eric G.
Thank you so much, Yaah Maggie. That was very good. And it falls in line with some of us who are hoping to be leaders. And I got to tell you, I'm going to lead Amazonia. And it's just that now I'm giving opportunity for our elders to lead, but they are messing up. And it's not a problem. There's some of these leaders now, they have learned so much from La Republic that they cannot go away from it. So if you look at our leaders before now, like Pa Mulan Litumbe, those are real patriots, but they're gone. And then there are those that learn a lot from this current structure. It's difficult for them to separate from that. And then our generation, we are no nonsense, and we're going to lead. When you guys fail, we're going to lead, and there's no way they're going to prevail. But to add to what our brother just said, and also town hall and the numbers. The number doesn't. I don't think about number. I think about quality. The quality, not quantity. So the numbers here are good. And town hall for the last past year has been. They have competent people and they have been consistent. So that is what is going to win the end. Okay, I want to complete. I want to one of the part of the defense under the ministry that you said. If I have to lead Ambazonia, military service is going to be compulsory for Ambazonians, and I'll have one. Everyone who has the ability, who is not sick, the elderly, they are only these are only people who will be exempted, but it's going to be compulsory. And then the military is going to have a full-time and a reservist. And the reservists will train some of them to be medical doctors. They'll be all the different areas in the country. You have a military service, so you can activate them at any time. If we have 8 million Ambazonians, and out of 8 million, 5 million have military service. Out of 5 million, 2.5 are full-time military. We can deploy them to carry out operation in France. It's not like in those days where you just sit and then tell you that, hey, they are invading. No, we can deploy in France, and our military will go there, overwhelm them. So that's what, and that we're also going to use that to force La Republic, good governance in La Republic and Central Africa, and we're going to implement that. All the African countries will also have that policy, so that Africa is 1.5 billion. If you have 500 million Africans that are military, who have military service, we can deploy them in Europe to also control Europe. And we're going to also force the United Nations Security Council to reflect Africa. If not, we stay away from. But those are the policies that need to be put in place for Africans to change, and that is why I see Mali succeeding. So I think that is something that have to be implemented, especially when it comes to defense. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to react to that before I take a question from Facebook. Then we'll come back to
just
Bamboo
simply
Picking.
say that each what we have is really skeletal. Just put everything together, and each sector will design their own. Then we'll come together from time to time as we look at the other frameworks that everybody has. We go this retrospective perspective will even help us. So we look at the future, look at what we have, and then say, what did we have before that we can add here? So that going back and forth will actually help us to get the country that works for us, works for everybody. We will debate the ideas, we will, put them together, and then our people, we ourselves, the professionals, will select the best ones, and that will be the country that works for us. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, before I take the question, to Eric's point, we used to have Génie Militaire. I think it was cancelled sometime late in the 80s, early 80s. I think Nigeria is not full military, it's paramilitary, but they have the youth service, which you have to do after university. Israel has the program, they still do it. Russia still does it. They too have the program where you have to serve at some point somehow.
And the best service now is for road construction. I tell you, constructing a kilometer of good road in other countries, Cameroon is one of the most expensive countries to build a road, and it's not even a good quality road. You have like $1 million or $1.5 million, a kilometer of road that has, how many centimeters of tar.
Yeah.
You go to other countries, you see how cheaply, go to Tunisia, see how cheaply they construct roads. Go to Morocco, go to Egypt. So why should road construction, we have our boys who will be ex-combatants, we can put them in that génie militaire mode to actually do, we call it, oh Lord, now I forget these words in my procurement that I used to have. Force accounting, that's what they call it, sorry. They go and come. So force accounting is where the government actually says, yes, this is what we will use. The skills will come from here. We take the resources, we do it ourselves. And that will help us to build our roads much faster. But we must ensure that we get good quality. You don't want to build good quality road maintenance, those kinds of things. Okay, over back.
Okay, let me take this question because it's Facebook. It said, good evening once again. This is from Ayamba Teresia. I think she's in Nigeria, she says. Okay. Her question, will the Ambazonian public services be apolitical? That's what is disturbing us here in Nigeria when we see how this public service is functioning. Thanks and God bless you all. Yes.
Absolutely correct. That's exactly apolitical. You don't mix. If you're a public servant, you sign a contract. You don't bring the politics into the workplace. Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's come to Bambui Pekin. Bambui Pekin is next, Dr. Zama, and then Eagle Global Technologies. Bambui Pekin, go ahead.
I greet everybody. Yeah, Maggie.
Yes, ma'am.
May your days belong on earth. My name is Ntoko Susie, alias Grandma. Thank you so much.
Bambui Pekin.
Yes. Ma, I swear to God, I am sweating. You know, it is cold here. It's just like I have arrived at Amazonia. Thank you so much. I thank you so much for this presentation. See, one thing I want to suggest that you think of is that, because of the trauma that our people have gone through, I will advise that many people who are in the health sector right now at this point should try and do some psychology, so that because our people need, they need rehabilitation, not just giving them works and those things. They are mentally traumatized, and so most of us should go and do that. Thank you once more, Ma.
So you see the prospective retrospective. Yes, prospective retrospective. When you're looking in front, you see the kinds of problems we will have. We begin to find the solutions now. If we don't find the solutions now, when the time comes to deal with this problem, we will not have the trained people. Thank you very much, Bambui Pekin. Okay, Dr. Zama.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, we are recording, so we will go back and jot those points down. Yes.
Yeah. What else can I say? But I heard somebody talking about poverty. Poverty is going to be an issue. I can guarantee everybody that from day one, poverty is not going to be an issue, because we have the skills and we have the willingness to actually work. I would also like to guarantee Ambazonians or Southern Cameroonians that the people in the agricultural sector have actually begun writing their own policies, not talking in the air, but writing it on the ground. And not only writing on the ground, I cannot announce it on the air, but we are actually training people on the ground to do the testing of our organic policy.
Thank you.
Amazonia is going to be a country where we are most likely not going to use any chemical fertilizer at all, because we have all the trash on the streets in Bamenda and everywhere that is organic manure, which we can collect and use. We're working on a policy, on a fertilizer policy, how to use, how to make everybody in Southern Cameroons become a beekeeper. Because beekeeping is not only money, it's going to pollinate our crops. So our crops are going to do very well. So once we have all that in place, with organic fertilizer from day one, every household will be able to make their own organic fertilizer. So there's no need to go buy organic fertilizer. And everybody, whether you are in the capital city of Boya, or you are in Bamenda or in Kumba, in the city, you can grow your tomatoes, you can grow your lettuce, your leeks, and you'll be able to eat well. So just to support what you're saying, that the people in agriculture are working on a policy to ensure that food self-sufficiency for every single Ambazonian from Kambe to Ndian would be a priority. And let me guarantee everybody, first 5 years, we'll make it. We don't need oil, we don't need timber. Agriculture can support that country for the first 5 years. Thank you.
That's why I didn't pick up on the poverty challenge, because We are a land of opportunity and promise. And you're right, Dr. Zama. Poverty, agriculture can cut it for us. Yes, absolutely.
So, Mr. Moderator, let me chime in since I can't raise my hand.
Okay, then after you, let me give Yaah this compliment from Joseph Afanwi on Facebook first. He says, "My mother, I love you so much for such brilliant ideas. Keep educating us. I pray this be rebroadcast over and over. Thanks."
I am going to come to any group that you have that you want me to repeat this. I will do it. But you know, the notes that I put down, the PDF, everybody will have it. So you take a look at it and how you develop your own sector. Up to you. We need
we'll have
all the hands on deck to build a beautiful country that works for us and for our children. That is Amazonia. That is Southern Cameroon. Yes.
So I just need, yes, I need to make two comments, part comment, part response to certain questions that have popped up here and online. And the question we have to ask ourselves and answer is, what are we fighting for? Why are we fighting? Why is there a war? And if you answer that question in any form, it centers around whether it's our country, whether it's for Southern Cameroon, whether it's for our future, then the follow-up question is what country, what future? And this is the answer. If you have not envisioned it, if you have not thought about it, if you've not thought about how to materialize it, then what exactly are you fighting for, right? I think I've seen several comments that some people have insinuated that first win the war, or this is premature, or you're dreaming, have your country first. Well, if you have your country first, then why were you fighting to begin with, right? This is what we are fighting for. And if we do not conceptualize it, if we do not materialize it, then we have nothing to grasp at. And if we have nothing to grasp at, we have nothing to get us going. We have nothing to reach for. We need something to reach for to keep us going. We need something to reach for to give us direction. But equally important, we need something to reach for such that we can convince those who need to help us that we have a destination. Otherwise, everything we're doing is just chaos. There's no destination. And this is our destination. And so if you're asking why we are doing this, the question you are essentially asking is, why should we have a destiny? And if you want to ask that question, go ahead, ask that question. Then reflect on whether or not that is a question you should be asking. The second is about resources or money particularly, right? Several people have raised the question of money or where we get the money or the resources. Money has never been a solution to any problem. If money were a solution to any problem, La Republique would have finished with us today. What we need is leadership. What we need is integrity. What we need is ingenuity. Those three things would solve any problem. Money has never solved any problem.
Let me talk about the money problem because I have worked a lot in resource mobilization.
We also have some hands up.
A good plan will get you the money. If we do a good plan, we can take it to places which we know of, and we will get money. We'll first instance get a lot of grants for capacity building, for all those kinds of things, a lot of free money out there that can be given to a potential country that works like us. If we have a good plan, we can get, concessional loans galore. And we have many friends, but it is how we conduct ourselves in front of the people that will give us the money. What kind of relationships we do with the money.
Yeah, so
Mr. Moderator,
we have hands up.
Okay.
So no, yeah, finish your thought. Then
No,
let me give
so
it back to
we
the
have
moderator.
people on the screen waiting to ask
Yes.
questions.
Mhm.
Yes, let them.
So, Mr. Moderator, there's something called the resource curse, right? I'm just giving the last word. And in development economics, the resource curse is actually a phenomenon where actually the resource richest countries are the poorest. And the reason is because if you're resource rich, it tends to make you not to plan, not to think, and you end up actually being in reality the poorest. Right? It's called the resource curse. So go ahead, and we apologize for taking that, but go ahead with the
Okay.
hands.
We have Charles Agbo, and then we have the Galaxy, and then we have J Chuff. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Charles Agbo, go ahead.
Right. Okay.
And then we'll
Can
come
you
back
hear me?
to yes. Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. Good evening, and thank you for the presentation, Yaah Maggie. I just want to add a few things. Now, we in Africa, we tend to put the wrong people in the wrong places, and that usually causes a lot of problems. Because you cannot have a pastor wanting to become a military leader or whatever it is, and they want to do everything. So, I mean, right. So that said, so we need to get the right people, the right places, and then they organize themselves. Second, the cost of building roads. In an arid region, the cost is less compared to where I come from, the rainforest. If you build that type of road, the rainforest, you just wash it away in one season. So usually what they do is sometimes they have to dig right deep, take this whole soil out, put a new soil for so the cost of building a road in the rainforest should be considerably more. Now, school reform. Now, it depends on what model of school system we're talking about. At the moment, we are running an elitist education system. And what do I mean by that? Now, you have less than 10% of school leavers going to the higher education or further education. The mass education model, we're proposing something like 30 to 40% of school leavers, primary school, to go into university. And of course, if you have 50%, more than 40%, you're talking of universal education system. All these things need infrastructure. The universities have to be there. The schools have to be there. And then we have to know the percentage of students coming into school and the percentage leaving each year. Now, all this needs to be worked out. And it all must be based on how much money we decide to allocate for education. Because we cannot run the whole budget of education alone. The hospitals are there. If the students don't go to hospital, they cannot learn. Their parents don't get paid, they still will not have food. So all these things need to be taken into account based on finances and based on the political will, because this is what the parliament have to decide. We cannot do it as individuals. These are things that you have to make a presentation to the elected representatives, and they decide on what they think is best value for money. Yeah, I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Okay, I had done a presentation to the town hall a while back about a manpower planning tool that we could use. That tool is actually ready. I've talked about it in my notes. You will see when you read it. But I didn't talk about it today because, of course, when I talk about building a house, the manpower that you have to build that house is as important as the design of the house and the materials that you have. So that manpower planning tool is also another presentation that I had done to the town hall. The CDN has put it on an IT platform, and they will come back and add on to this. So there are three tripods to this plan. And so we have the the manpower side, we have this design of the institutional side, and then we have the budgetary side. So those three will come together to complete what I've presented to you today. Sorry, I too much time. I just could not do everything at once. Yeah. So everybody's gonna get the link.
Yes.
Well, as soon as we're done, I'll send Atul. He will distribute to everybody. You will have it. Don't worry. Okay.
Yes, because somebody just asked
the
in the chat.
Galaxy 59 is the next. Yeah. Please.
Okay. Yeah, Galaxy 59, go ahead. Unmute yourself. Are you there? All right, maybe he's not.
Yes. This is Don Pasho.
Okay, go ahead, Don Pasho. Are you where you can turn on your camera?
Let me see.
If not, that's fine. If you cannot, that's fine. It's just because we're on TV. That's why we asked. But go ahead.
I haven't seen Don Pasho for a long time. Turn on your camera.
I don't see him on the screen, Secretariat.
He is right there. He is.
Okay, go ahead, Don Pasho. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I've been following up the meeting since when the meeting started. I have listened to everybody speak. Just that I was a little bit busy when they were giving or asking questions during the period after giving analysis on the way forward. But when I listened to Maya speaking, she spoke very well about reconstruction. And when I listened to some reactions and how people are talking, I will ask us Ambazonians, we have one. Like I said, I did not have time to react during the period of when they were talking about the way forward. First of all, we have a problem of collaboration in Ambazonia. Every day, we are hearing of new groups coming up every day, new groups coming up. 80%, or let me say close to 90% of Ambazonians are crying of collaboration now in Ambazonia. The town hall, I attended this meeting because the advert that town hall put was the way forward towards collaboration and that they have a plan towards collaboration. When I look, I will ask a question. What has the town hall done to meet the other groups or show us something that has been worked out by other groups for us to see how we can meet together towards to work towards that genuine collaboration? Before we are talking of reconstruction, yes, it is a good thing to talk about it now. But when we are talking about it, let us first of all look at ourselves in-house. How are we Ambazonians in-house? Are we sure this reconstruction plan is going to work? No matter how good that reconstruction plan is, are we sure it is going to work? What have we done in-house to make sure that this reconstruction plan, everybody endorses it? I believe we heard one leader who even openly said, if he does not lead Ambazonia in Ambazonia, he declares another war in Ambazonia for a year. What are we doing to bring in such people, to explain to them, to understand? There are people who call themselves leaders, we all understand, that do not even know what awaits us ahead of this war. The main problem in this war is not this moment. The post-Ambazonia will be very difficult and critical. How are we working? How are we bringing ourselves together? I salute the brain of Maya, and I believe it is time for us and the town hall to build and try to talk to these people. Let us build and talk together. If not, I bet you all these brilliant ideas we are feeling. Are you?
So I don't know if that question was to Yaah or to the town hall. So let me just take a step to say that the part of the question regarding the efforts at reconciliation, at coming together, probably was to the town hall. And let's say the town hall secretariat will take an endeavor to catalog the different efforts at coming together. That probably is Don Pasho, it's a good point. Let's say next town hall is the SCA, maybe the town hall after that, we would have a discussion, maybe present the different efforts we have found of camp collaboration. What are the current collaboration efforts? Let me answer that part for the secretariat, then Yaah can tackle the rest since that was geared at the secretariat. But that was a good point you raised, Don Pasho. And we will tackle it, and then we will all have a discussion on it.
And I would like to add that we would like Don Pasho to have those group leaders come to that meeting so that it is not a back and forth, because it's almost like it's the townhouse fault. So let's not distract from today's topic. Like Herman, you're very right. Let's leave for another discussion. But Don Pasho, do us the favor. I will be in touch with you to make sure that you get the leaders come to that meeting so that we resolve this thing once and for all. We can define what collaboration means once and for all. Thank you. Yeah, I think the other part was to you, if this would work.
Yeah, you know, when we put something that is really complicated, we always say the devil is in the details. The French people, they say l'appétit vient en mangeant. It's when you get into working on this thing that you will see that we cannot remain at war. We need to build this plan. It's a plan that will take to the bank, and we get, once we build that country that is attractive, once people see that it can work, they will give us the opportunity to implement it. There are so many fragile failed states in Africa that who among the possible sponsors that we have would not want to see a country that works? Yeah.
Thank you. I think Dr. Zama is next, but I would like to remind us of what Dr. Sawyer told us, that he actually used the word wasted. He said they wasted 7 years going back and forth. Why? Because there wasn't a plan. Eritrea didn't have a plan. And that's why the guy who is there now, Afoteki, is able to impose himself. The Egyptian revolution failed. They got rid of Hosni Mubarak, but they didn't have a plan for an Egypt after Mubarak. And what happened? The army came back, and it's worse now than it was under Mubarak. South Sudan, they got their independence, but there wasn't a clear plan. Today they are fighting. So the idea that we should fight, finish, get the country. In the meantime of building a plan, what do we think would happen in that during that period? It's going to descend into South Sudan. So anyway, let me not divert. Dr. Zama, go ahead. Your hand is up next.
Yes, I just wanted to make a comment to some of the chats that we find in the in the chat. So in the comments, some people are talking about prioritizing getting a country first, or they should prioritize getting a country first. What I would say is that I, as a farmer, I don't know anything about guns. The people who know things about guns are carrying the guns and going ahead. So should I just fold my arms and sit down and wait for the people with the guns on the ground to go finish before we can start thinking about what our agricultural policy should look like? No. Thinking about post-reconstruction shouldn't be mutually exclusive to the fight on the ground. While I'll give my own contribution to self-defense, and then I'll go ahead and do what I need to do for farming. So that is exactly what Yaah Maggie is saying, that I don't think she is discouraging us from contributing for self-defense. I think she's encouraging us to contribute for self-defense, while she, as a development expert, would sit behind and then come out with these ideas. She and her colleagues will come up with these ideas so that by the time the people with the guns are finishing, they too are ready to just hit the ground running. And I think one of the reasons why these questions are coming up is because the Secretariat did not actually introduce Yaah Maggie who she was. I think that would, knowing her, would let people understand why this particular topic is being discussed at this point. So maybe towards the end, the Secretariat can actually introduce Yaah Maggie, the kind of experience that she has, that would tell people why she is doing this at this point.
Well, we did a little bit of promo, Dr. Zama. Dr. Yaah Maggie was the first head of the Fragile States Department of the African Development Bank. She's worked across the continent. She's worked at the World Bank before the African Development Bank. She's helped reconstruct countries after the war, in Liberia, in Sierra Leone. She's okay, she doesn't want me to write her life on
Honestly, Arthur, there is no need for all of that, please.
Okay, I'll leave it at that. Just let's go to Manasta. Manasta, you're next. Go ahead. And then Mira, and then J Chop. Manasta, go ahead. Manasta, are you there? Unmute yourself. Okay, if Manasta is still muted, let's go to Mira. We'll come back to Manasta. Mira? Okay.
I'm driving. Oh,
okay.
I just wanted, Comrade,
yes.
I wanted to chime in on Don Pancho's point. He was. Are you getting me?
Okay, we can hear you now. Yes, you broke up.
Yeah,
we can hear you.
What has the town hall done to bring our leaders? And I'm just thinking, if you are a leader of our people, and this is a very important time, I just want to ask this meeting today, do we have any of our leaders present today in this meeting? Do we? Because I want to say it because this flyer was out. I don't care what was going on, but at least as a leader, you should have come in and just listen and kind of understand what's going on. What are your people talking about? The town hall is just a platform. It's just a platform for our people. The town hall don't make decisions for our people, okay? So when I hear those things, they kind of make my stomach turn, it rambles around like, what is going on with our people? Why is always this group mentality coming in between us? Why is always that we should always do this group thing? Why can't we do things as Southern Cameroonians? Why? Why? Is there, do we want some kind of prayer today? Let's pray and cast out this group mentality in the minds of Southern Cameroonians. Can we do things as just Southern Cameroonians, not as a group of this or an organization of this and all this? If you are a leader of an organization and you hear that this kind of important thing is coming up today, the first thing you should do is kind of come in there, encourage your group members, go listen and bring it back to the house. We can talk about it. This town hall is just a platform. It is not making decisions for our people. It's just providing us that platform where we can come as Southern Cameroonians and talk about things that really concerns us. And it's so funny. Even right now we are talking, Dr. Ayabacho is having a Zoom conference meeting just when we are talking, just to distract a group of people to go there and focus on that one instead of being in this conference. Right now, as we are talking, we also have other factions of government who have already told their people they cannot be talking about reconstruction where we have not had a country. You see, they already play with the minds of our people, and being so short-sighted as they are, they all believe in this nonsense. And that's why we are just like a river stagnating. We are not going nowhere because of this group mentality. Can we have somebody or a man of God come to this town hall and cast this nonsense out? Can we just?
We lost you.
Yes,
we
so
lost
that's
you.
trying to say that, please, if you are a member of a group here, go tell your leader it was a successful meeting. Tell them what Yaah Maggie presented today, and we should see how we can do it. And another thing I want to say, we have to have a face in this revolution. We have to have somebody. We know our leaders all in jail. We know our president is
we lost you, Mira.
Yeah, sorry. Are you getting me?
Yes,
Hello?
yes, we can hear you now. Yes.
Sorry, some calls keep coming in. That's why I had this problem. Yeah,
Okay.
so I was saying that we need a face. We need a face, and that face that will stand is not somebody that belongs to a group. It's going to be somebody that is very neutral, that everybody can feel comfortable to say, okay, this person can speak for me. We need it today. We need it today. I'm telling you, if this town hall will finish at 9 p.m., Mira, I will be there. We will get that person today and declare that person. And that person will be able to contact all the groups, and let's see how we can move forward. I'm telling you, no group will make it without everybody. So all this group thing is delaying us. We need somebody that is independent, somebody that is not part of the group mentality, so we can go today. That's my take. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mira. Thank you very much. Maybe Don Pasio was referring to us writing letters to specific individuals, and if we don't do that, we've not invited them, or they're not Southern Cameroonians. I don't know. But like Herman said, we'll have that discussion.
Ato, please, if I may.
Well, just 1 minute, so that we can move on. If you want to say something, since it was you who brought it up.
My dear comrades, when I listen to Comrade Mira speak, I see a lot of emotions. I had been there, Comrade Mira. Those of the town hall can tell you I've been in that same situation. When we have these emotions, it leads us to nowhere. We have been having these emotions. When I talk about what have the town hall done, right? It is not time for us to be announcing that we want to have meetings with these people. We want to have meetings with these people. It is time for us to retract behind the scene. We try to see how we can contact these people. We talk to them behind the scene. We build behind the scene so that before coming out to talk to the people, that means before coming out to talk to the people, we have achieved a certain level of collaboration, or we are coming out to talk to the people to tell them that we have been working with this for this period of time, and this is what the leaders don't want. This is what the leaders are doing. They don't want collaboration. So that's my point. Can we try to work something behind the scene? I stand to say this today. I don't more believe even in this issue of leaders. I believe the revolution is for the people, like Comrade Weber said the other time. It is for the people and for the people. We, the people of Ambazonia, we have failed our own selves because we have allowed people to be dictating the tune, and we dance to the tune of the music that they play. We have, as a people, to sit now. What I would believe this town hall should be doing, contacting people, contacting moderates. Let us work towards a possible all-Ambazonian conference this summer. It is right in front of us. It is approaching. Like next week will be in March. It is fast approaching. Can we work towards something? Let the people of Ambazonia come and talk. These leaders have been going to United States of America. They have been meeting in Nigeria. They have failed us. Can the people take up their battle and talk for themselves and decide and do what they have to do? I yield.
Thank you. Thank you, Don Pasio. We'll talk about that behind the scenes. Ma Nasta, Okay, J. Choff left us. Then Ma Nastar, then Dr. Fontaine, then the Galaxy. J. Choff, I don't know if you left or if I dropped you by mistake, but Ma Nastar, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we should try and see.
Ma Nastar, you muted yourself. You were talking, then you muted yourself. Ma Nastar, you there?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
So I was saying that we need to start somewhere today, because I hear Maggie saying that she's going to give that paper to every group, and then we see how to work on it. We have to start thinking of how best can we organize this thing constructively. First of all, the plan, and also what she presented. Where do we start? Don Pacho talked about grassroots movement. How do we go about it to bring back people and start something? Do we need a committee to handle that? Do we also need a committee to keep building on the what we knew before, or our future Amazonia? How do we go about this? And where do we start? That's just a question. If we can find out how best to start.
Thank you, Ma Nastar. Yes, we hope that Southern Cameroonians, we're going to send out both documents, the call to action document, and we hope that people in the various countries would step up, and we'll ask people to contact the secretariat if they want to get into the plan. Just one moment, let Joe Chofi, we dropped him. He was up next. He's been waiting. Then we'll come to.
He's still joining. He was in the waiting room.
Yes, I just let him in. He was in. He's been waiting. Then his hand dropped. I mean, he dropped. J. Choff, are you there?
All right. I'll just grab some water and come back.
Excuse me, Comrade Atto. May I just chip in before I leave? I have to leave, and just want to say a word to that leaders issue here, because the people talk about leaders and who are these leaders? We don't need them and whatsoever. No, leaders are not appointed people by somebody and so on. We're not talking about these people, these social media leaders, these clowns. We're talking about people who take the lead by feeling responsible. That is, these people we should call leaders, and not these social media clowns. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here, and I cross my fingers. I pray for you all. It was great to be here. Thank you so much. Good luck and best of success.
Thanks, Shay, and we look forward to having you March 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. J. Choff, I know you were there, and then your call dropped. You can go ahead because I know you have been waiting. Then we'll come back to Dr. Fontaine and go down. J. Choff, are you there? You have to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
A bit louder. Your microphone is low.
Okay, yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, sorry, my computer kept shutting me out, and I had to reboot and come back again. And
yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm very grateful to finally get an opportunity to have a word. And the first thing is I would like to thank Yaah Maggie Kilo for the breath of fresh air that she has been to this struggle. I can't say much about that. The main thing I want to say is that we have done some of this in this presentation, but I would like us to do a bit more of it, and that is linking everything that we are trying to plan for our future to what we had in Southern Cameroons. Because we basically had everything, and what we are basically trying to do is recreate what we already have. And it is important for the international community to understand this, that we are not creating something new, but we are just trying to take back what we had and what was stolen from us. So I just wanted to reinforce that point, which I've been trying to make to a lot of people in the last few weeks who think that they are the only ones, or even, anything new, or that the only thing that matters right now is self-defense. No, we rejected reconstruction from La Republique du Cameroon because it is not them that will reconstruct Southern Cameroon, but it is us. It does not mean that we do not have to be thinking about reconstruction right now. So I am very grateful for this town hall of today, and I heartily thank Yaah Maggie Kilo for her presentation. I just want to urge that we link everything back to Southern Cameroon because we had all these things before. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Julius. Thank you very much for participating and for being present. And yeah, I think what you have done today has really infused a new life into our struggle and given us something to pursue. Thank you. Thank you, Jechoff. Thank you.
Wow, there's still so many hands.
Yes, you're in trouble. You're not going anywhere. So let's just keep our comments brief because he has been here all day. We cannot keep you too long. Dr. Fontaine, and then we'll have a number of hands. Dr. Fontaine, go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. I just want to thank Yaah Maggie Kilo for the pains she has taken to put this together and to encourage our people, because generally for those of us in the academia, I think it is important to anticipate, and it is sensible to be proactive. We are not going to wait to have our country before we start figuring out what we want to do with it. So I think that drumming up these ideas at this stage of the conflict and gives us enough time to refine the ideas, polish them, and then come out with what, a clear blueprint. Without a blueprint, you will not know what you want. I understand perfectly the psychology of those who want us to put this last, so that when we are done with guns, people will come with their guns and now tell us what to do. And if we don't do it, another bloody civil war will start within our own country. But the value of the intellectual that Yaah Maggie Kilo has been tested by this presentation. And if you cannot use your education, your learning, and put it at the service of your people, if you cannot put your learning, your education at the service of your people, then the reason for which you went to school has been defeated. Don't you ever say that your education is to buy bread and put food on your family's table. No. Even if you're putting food on your family's table, the essential thing is to bring up your children well so that they can fit into that community where your children are growing up. So please, I encourage the town hall, I encourage Yaah Maggie Kilo, I encourage all well-meaning Southern Cameroonians to put their hands together, hold hands tightly, and let us pursue this cause, the cause of reason, the cause of logic, the cause of justice, so that at the end of the day, our people will not have any cause to regret for having waged this war of freedom. When the consortium started their activities in 2016, we always anticipated the next step down the road, and it enabled us to be able to do the things we did. And that is why we were able to have a struggle that involved all the people of Southern Cameroons after more than 20 years of struggling to start it off. So this is the path. Without unity, without agreement, and without faith, we cannot make any move. So I encourage everybody to throw their weight, because behind the work that we are doing currently as a people, I may not be part of it, I may not necessarily take part of it, but if I have any contribution to make, I will send it in. And I think that at the end of the day, we should have what is best for us and what will help our people many years down the road. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Fontaine. Thank you. So, yeah, let's take the comments. You can make notes and then you comment and yes. So let's hear from Comrade Eric G, then we'll have Heritage, and then Comrade Eleno, and then Comrade Vincent Tumasan. Comrade Eric G, go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. I wasn't supposed to come back again and talk, but I think Don Patro is another person that made me to come and talk again today. but yeah, but going back to that, a lot of people who are out here have a lot of knowledge, and people keep calling themselves leaders, and we don't act, and they will give them the power to keep messing up. I think the days are gone for that. Will step up and will, one, support financially, because they don't, anybody, I think for the past, since it was 35 years, I support this revolution, $500 every month and more. So any leader who can think that they know, let them show me how much they have contributed into this struggle financially, from Sako to Ayaba to Akwanka, all of that. They take contribution from people and they keep causing confusion in the revolution. We don't need them. We don't need to collaborate with any leader. Everyone is a leader. Those who can come together and forge a way forward, that is a solution to the struggle. For my Yaah Maggie's program for special education, I took a differential education. I took key. There were key points that were very, very important, especially for me. Though I'm an IT consultant, I also educate. And for example, I think one of the speakers spoke about the kind of illicit education that we have in Cameroon that doesn't have any value to us. It makes us want to go to vocational to work for the government, and we cannot create jobs because they want to continue controlling us, and they politicize the system where they appellate you if you don't support the ruling party. That has to end. For instance, I had a training. I trained globally, because of time difference, I trained students in Africa different from students here in the United States. And at the end of the training, I found out there was a big difference in terms of articulation, in terms of when I do tests and mock interview and all of that. The students that were in the United States were articulating. Those in Africa, they were back in Cameroon, Nigeria, and Ghana. They were different. So what I did was I transformed the training program, and now train all of them at the same time. So I have training 4 p.m. in the Eastern time. That is like 9 p.m. in Cameroon. When the time change is 10 p.m. And then in Dubai, all of that. Do you know what? The students in Cameroon at the end of that training, they articulated even better than those in the United States. And one of the students left Cameroon and had an ambition to go to Germany. Do you know when he got to Germany, when he went to Germany as a cybersecurity engineer, as a student too, he had a job. He had an interview with Microsoft, and the way he articulated, just like a student that was trained here in the United States, working for this big corporation, Microsoft gave him a job. You know, they gave him a job, paying him far better. So because of that, the school and the Microsoft in Germany provided him a document so that he can, because that skill is lacking in Germany, so that the immigration policies or the immigration, they can adjust the immigration laws so that he can work, because they need that skill. So that is why I look at that education. I say, no, I'm going to my focus is going to be post-independence. I already have a plan now, just within this 1 hour listening to this, that I'm going to develop an institution, an IT institution and a development institution that is going to help build our IT infrastructure, our cybersecurity infrastructure and research and development, where we will be our own platform like Amazon system. We're going to produce our own internal processes. Uber, for example, that is going to bring people together. Somebody, the car sharing, for example, you have a car, during your off time, you can carry people and make income. Like Uber, we'll make our own in the Southern Cameroons. We'll also have application where you're going to bring buyers and sellers to also add to what she said about cooperative, where those things will bring people who need the goods and those who need the services together. And that is kind of a vocational structure that we should be thinking. I don't need to wait for the war to end before I do that. But I'm doing it right now and providing training to those who have been displaced. And I'm going to expand that post-independence. So we don't have to wait for the war to end for us to start bringing implementing the processes. We have to start doing that now. And for those who call themselves leaders, I challenge you anytime. We don't need to get any leader to come to any meeting. We're going to bring change. For the town hall, the challenge is that look for individuals who can be at the face of the revolution, who fund that individual. We don't care about these guys who call themselves leaders. I can single-handedly fund a group that is going to be far stronger than ADF, for example, that is causing a lot of confusion. And we're going to bring change. So I don't care. Somebody also wrote that after the revolution, there's a leader that said he can fund a civil war after that. It's not going to happen. I'm saving for any leader that is going to do that. I'm saving, I'm serious. I'm putting down a lot of money for who is going to do that. And it's going to happen. So nobody should not scare. So a leader is he who, as I said, have the resources that can motivate people and they work toward achieving a goal. All of these other guys, they are not leaders. They cannot even put $500 monthly into the revolution. Why do we keep going back and say collaboration? It will not work. It didn't work yesterday. It's not working now. It will not work tomorrow. So there's nothing like collaboration because we've been talking this thing since this revolution started 5 years ago. There will be no collaboration because these people are making money. They are enriching themselves out of poor people. So end here. Thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Eric, and thank you for everything you do for this struggle. I will attest to your sacrifices to this struggle. I thank you very much, Comrade. Thank you. So let's get Heritage and then Comrade Elena. Heritage America Television. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, this is Richie here. Yeah, I want to actually appreciate all of you, our Comrade everybody who's been doing work here at this town hall. You guys have been so awesome. Yeah, Maggie, everybody, and I was actually touched by Comrade Mira. I think getting a phase of this revolution at this time is something we should think about. You know, guys are actually ready to move forward. Just that people are right now in camps, I'll call them groups, whatever they are. There may be about 50 or 25 WhatsApp groups somewhere. If there is a way to start looking to link these people and for people to work, you know, we are talking about the face of the revolution. We've already said that we are sending over this whole strength to ground zero. Then let ground zero be the imaginary face. We still and we come around committees that we are already forming. All we just need to do is extend our hands to different people and they form different committees. But I just feel that one group cannot do it all. We should start de-escalating, trying to get solutions right now. I think last town hall, we were still trying to seek solutions. This town hall, we are still in solution phase. When are we actually going to get the solutions? So I propose that people regroup. The forums that are already more members in it should gather other members and, you know, expand into, like right now we're looking at the forum. We are already building the Coalition for Change, or Southern Cameroons and Amazonia Coalition for Change. People are there in their hundreds, but when we're looking at face, a leadership, anybody can be leadership. Anybody. We have people here who are competent. We have people like Dr. Fontaine, they are faces. Why are we trying to ignore a face when the face is right here? He has been through hell and came back and he has met us. If the other people have like failed, all right, why do we not just send him right there in front to start talking? He is on that forum. Everybody on that forum. I posted the link on the chats there. Southern Cameroon Coalition for Change. Once we get to maybe 250 or We go for Southern Cameroon Coalition for Change Forum 2. We build them like that and go until we are in the thousands. Is the same forum, speaking the same language, and things going about the same. We can't just be trapped. We are actually trapped. That's what I'm saying. All what we have been made to do is bring ideas, bring suggestions, bring situations on the floor. And every other month we are talking about the same thing. We have the right people. We are ready to go. We are ready to go. If ground zero is already like where we think we have to invest everything we're doing, a phase of the revolution that will link to ground zero, it's just simple. We have Dr. Fontaine, but I can link that phase. There's nobody in here. I schooled with Dr. Fontaine by my classmate. The guy is legit. If we want to believe that there is somebody who can make this work, I think with him being there, it's the same like we would choose even the physical in jail. They are still the same people. But one thing is, he is a face. But then we drag onto ground zero. And then once we are there, we try to resolve this issue, take the people who are in jail out. Because if we don't form that quorum to get that unity, we will not liberate ground zero, no way. So guys, please, all these as little groupings, let's start stitching them into one big group. Just look like that small pond of water that joins into another one, collects until they form a stream that goes down and then go into a river and then into the sea. Let's do this. We can do it. We're already there. All these ideas we're bringing are just fallacies. We need action, all right? We need to move on. I believe this is time because very soon people will start getting like discouraged and just withdrawing like a lot of people are doing right now. They come to the forum, they say, no, they're just talking there. There's nothing they're doing. You know, I will just end here. I think we have put it so far. Let's do concrete stuff right now.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Comrade Richie.
You bet.
Let us hear from the others. Comrade Eleno.
Good evening, everybody in the town hall.
Yeah, welcome. Good evening.
I'm sorry I cannot put on my video.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'll probably be like all over the place, but I'll try to really focus. And my apology, I'm very emotional right now. I'm really very emotional. Yeah, Don Pasio talked about having to talk to the other people, unity and all of that. I will start from something that happened yesterday or something that I saw yesterday, very early in the morning. That was the first thing that I saw when I got up in the morning. It was a release from prison, a release that threatens our leaders in jail. That if they are caught, I'm going to summarize, if they are caught with cell phones, they will have a disciplinary cell action for 15 days. There will be change for 15 days. There will be, I mean, the sanctions are horrendous. Just listening to them or just reading that, and with everything that they're already going through, it is devastating for us out here, people who have their, who at the end of the day, they can go back to their normal lives. It is already very disastrous for us. So what more of those who are actually facing it? Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is that in my own personal analysis, La République is happy with the chaos that we are going through. And they know that the person that can bring unity among Southern Cameroonians is the leadership in detention. In fact, the reason why they were arrested in the very first place. Now, not too long ago, I think less than 2 weeks ago, there was a call for unity.
Your microphone.
Oh, sorry, can you hear me?
Your voice has gone low.
I don't know why. Is it better?
Yes, it's better now.
Okay. So I was saying that I think less than 2 weeks ago, there was a call for unity from the leadership in detention. I don't know if many people saw it, but there was a call for that. And I personally strongly believe that that thing appeared in one of the paper. It appeared in one of the papers and then the MMFO published it. So I strongly believe that again also triggered the fact that La République triggered La République to send out this communique to threaten them if they use cell phones. Now, why would La République threaten them now at this point? Because they are enjoying the chaos in which we are. They are really enjoying it, and they know that when they stress up our people, or they are hoping that for 5 years we've not given up, and if they put the stress more on us, especially with on our leaders in jail, we will give up. Now, to us out here, seeing all of these things, I'm going to be brutally honest. I think anybody out here who is still expecting any of this, I'm sorry, I'm going to use the word misleaders, to strive for unity, then we are still very gullible. Each of us is a leader in their own capacity. So it is left on us. It is left on us to do what we have to do. And to me, we keep thinking that we can unite with everybody. Not everybody in this revolution is for this revolution. No. The earlier we learn that, the better for us. Not everybody who is shouting Southern Cameroons, Ambazonia, is for this, is for the restoration of statehood. We have people who have infiltrated us. We have people whose job is to distract. We have people who are being paid to keep us apart, to cause all the distraction, to wear us out, so that we give up. The earlier we identify those individuals or groups, the better for us. Because we keep singing this same song every day. Every time we come to the town hall, we are singing the same song. And the so-called misleaders, they are doing little or nothing at all to see that we come together. Yesterday, there was a write-up that came out. A write-up came out about, well, I will pick out the parts that was striking to me. The write-up came out about Yaah doing a presentation on post-reconstruction. I mean, a very insulting write-up. And I since yesterday, I have been asked after these people. I have been after them. I will not give the details, but I have been after them and their leaders to say, if your follower or your surrogate will say something like this, then you need to speak up. And of course, the leaders try their own in their own capacity. I will put it that way. They try their own in their own capacity. But I think it is time we start taking things into our own hands and considering that if we are waiting for leaders or misleaders to take action, it will never happen. And each of us is a leader. So we better start acting as one. And we are the ones that give relevance to these misleaders. So we better take it back, take action into our own hands. If it is 10 people that will lead this revolution, that be it the 10 people. I'm sorry that I am deflating people's bubble of everybody coming together, but we need to stop to leave the bubble we are living in and thinking that people will come together or that everybody will come together. Not everybody is for this revolution. Not everybody wants this thing to stop. Some people are having their, I don't know, their fame, their money, their whatever, so long as this revolution continues. We need to identify that. Again, I'm sorry, I know I've been all over the place, but I'm so emotional and
Elena, you don't have to apologize. Letting it off your chest is also a useful exercise. That's why we are here, to bring out our true selves, who we are, how we feel, what we want. So we thank you. Hopefully our people will step up. We just need committed people who want to take up these tasks and work on these plans, both plans that have been presented today, so that we can move forward. You know, people talk, but when we call for take up responsibilities, everybody is too busy. These guys making noise, they don't work, so they can get up at 8 o'clock from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and be on social media. But those of us who are busy, we still have to make the sacrifice of making that extra call every day. Thank you. Comrade Vincent Passan.
Yes.
Is that barrister?
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Can you speak a bit louder?
Okay. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I thank this town hall. You guys have been doing a tremendous job. I've been watching you guys in the background. I've never commented publicly, but today I've heard a lot of you come up and bring forth some good proposals. Comrade Maggie, you really presented that blueprint for Ambazonia well. I've heard other people come in and insist on the fact that we need to unite. Others have come in with a contrary opinion. But the bottom line is that in order for us to move forward, we have to have a process. We need to follow the process rather than follow people, because people will always let us down, as we've seen in the 5 years of the struggle. One of the reasons why I came on board to talk about is that an initiative called the Mamibi's Audit Initiative. It is a good initiative that Mamibi woke up one day, called a few people and talked about that initiative, that in order for us to come together and move this struggle forward, we must make sure that we have the right people with the right mindset in the right roles for this struggle to move forward. And I quickly jump onto that. The audit committee that is still in its formation stages strive to bring in groups to come in and submit, their report of what they've been doing on the ground. And it's basically a simple thing. The main objective of this audit initiative is to identify and review the accounts of all individuals or groups who have been collecting money on behalf of the Southern Cameroons Ambazonia struggle. So far, we've had a few groups that have actually humbled themselves and agreed to be audited. Basically, what are we doing? We don't need professionals. We don't need to hire professionals to carry out the audit process. All it takes is, if you can add, subtract, divide, and multiply, you can do an audit. What we're expecting is that we want to see how much money came in and how much money went out and what was done with that money. That's all we want to see. So in order for us to move forward, we must start from step one, which is the audit. In order for us to unite, we must make sure that we unite or we collaborate with the right groups who have the right mindset to make a change in this struggle. That is all I want to say. Thank you guys so much. You guys have done a great job.
Thank you very much, Comrade Vincent. And I'm glad you brought that up, because Mamibi said she'll be at work, won't be at the town hall. It's something we had wanted somebody to bring up. Thank you for bringing that up. I know that the civil society have availed themselves for an audit, And I hope Southern Cameroonians see that this is an important process. It's an important check and balance mechanism that has been missing. And that's why we are where we are. And it's something to really support. And we hope that if we can put in place a one-court system for our defense, this independent audit organization will be part of that process, where you would have the independent, you will be the independent watchdog of anything we can put together moving forward. But thank you for reminding us and bringing that up. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, let me add one more thing. Well, just one more thing quick. We are looking for volunteers to come join the team. We are also looking for volunteers. So if you guys know anybody or any one of you wish to volunteer to be part of that audit team, you can contact Mamibi and she will direct you. Thank you.
Okay, we'll keep talking about that too. Thank you. So Comrade Mandible, and then Powerful, then Comrade Alem. Yes, Mandible, go ahead.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for this day. And I will actually speak in Pidgin because I know this thing is being broadcasted so that people who are back on ground zero or ground one, at least they should understand. I think we speak a lot of English and sometimes we may throw our people off, understanding what's happening. So I'll just talk simple. I think say my sister way, my heart go out for you, Sister Elena. It don't pour out the heart and the feeling as a lady. Wait to see the experience and it really touched me. And I think say any man waiting for the revolution. As one of the sisters that we talked at the beginning, say we have a crossroad. We actually did for crossroads in the revolution now, where if we'll ever understand the enemy don't understand, say the way they go beat we down, that by winding us up in such a way, say that only we, because people they don't already give up, because they don't get nowhere else to go. My other brother talk say you do call people and they come inside the group, but can't discuss constructive things. No man will come. But if you go for group the way that nonsense, gossip, then thousands and hundreds. They go on. You want to go for morning time, pick your phone, 1,000 messages of nonsense. Because that the infiltration, that the confusion, and that way they bring among me. Me as a person, inside the revolution, I don't lost a lot. I know people, them, I know friends, I know family, the way they don't lost a lot. One thing they want to make a name clear more than the listen. None of these leaders, them, I will call all their name them. I need to fear no man. Cho Ayaba, Akwangwa, or Dawu, all them, Sako, all these people, I see them every day. My tell my brother, my sister, them. These people, they don't own nothing. Inside my core, the country, they don't own nothing for Cameroon. Inside the Ambazonian land, the people, they don't get nothing. How many people they Sako the employer own we don't hear before this struggle start? Where Sako the employer of Cameroon, they pay their salary, they support family. How many people they want to be don't hear? Show Ayaba, the employer of Cameroon, they pay their salary. They support family. I come out for Bamenda, I grow for Bamenda my life, and no part them for Bamenda. Where that they support family, them employ people, them do things for people, them travel for village, get farm them, take with brother, then they work, they pay them. Una ask una self say, who show I have all these people where they just come up from nowhere, where no man know them. Then now they instruct my mommy, instruct my papa, tell my papa they will get for come off a house and they will not get for come out. You should go for some country for Europe. They give my pa for Cameroon instruction where you no own nothing for that land. You don't get nothing. They don't use the revolution. Collect people the money. That one buy land, buy this. I talk with Pa. I know Pa who I talk with a big man for Bamenda. He asks me, well, when I don't finish with the revolution, when I go come and be talk with for Bamenda, that we get Bamenda, that we get the land, that we get the business, that we employ people.
The power tell me I employ over 800 people. I don't settle people. I mean that their family they go start business, start their own life. We get some man where the shop for us for Denmark or for Holland or for side. They give instruction for people then. Kidnap the one. Do the one for the man. Do the one for the man. I declare una open una eye. The people then wanna live with them. That power them, that mommy them. Now the people then that way wanna get to listen for them. We come for here. We no get power. I no be leader. I only come up for that country, come for the country that because say my part, you know, say I no go survive today. I go school, you know, they don't really know say there is no future. That why that way all when I come up for university, nothing no they for do. I get my cousin where me and he graduated in 2004 from Boya University. He did for Bame, they drive that Yaah's boss. That's somebody who has master's degree. He drive Yaah's boss to go Bengui. Today, he did for house for money time, ask him for 300. That is a man in his 40s. There is no hope. They don't close on a mind the way we not think. Education will do. Education will come go she done for office. The wider way we come out, we not create nothing. You know, understand nothing. All the business the way that they exist. I will talk about my town because I know I'm Bamenda. I will pay them. They create that business and they don't die to go. They deliver for we someone and they finish, they're not gonna be successful because as we be irresponsible, we'll not continue to follow the step the way they get up. I want to tell Unamuna, listen, man we eat the shit for Europe, where I know that only between 2017 and 2022 today, where it will get no use for Una. It is shit for the country. Give you instruction. Maybe you go cash some money power because say you want to make you get money for that power, send them for you. Maybe it should don't for your house with your own picking them. The chop, she don't come put video, Facebook, web tie, we raincoat them for the skin code. The shouldn't the talk say be leader. I be leader. Leader of who? Who is the lead who? You get land where you the leader. Move stop for on. I don't know why. I don't understand whether they don't brainwash me or they don't whitewash the face that wait to mature people them, able people they don't come over Cameroon, travel come for Europe. Who thinks they be educated? They do want to follow some person where they stay, not even know side they stay. Who know side they stay? Who know which plan the people they don't ever come out can present and like wait till the man present that will be today. Move. Therefore, call meeting today. Say the meeting today. That we don't get some big investor, you don't have a can donate 200,000. See how they go line up, enter the meeting where raincoat they can don't like say the better people. I want to tell Unamuna listening, and I will tell the leader they made a year for me on nowhere where we don't enter for Cameroon. Sorry, sir, I call them Cameroon, Ambazonia. I don't be very emotional because I know part they don't talk with them where they don't lost all in them because of this struggle. And they still believe so we'll get a future. We'll get people that they don't all man. They don't get nothing. They don't feed off we. And we still want to give them relevance. I want to tell them, made them know and made them listen part for this interview. Cut and paste for all the WhatsApp group they made them listen. You do not own nothing in Cameroon. I never knew you people. I know people because my parents have been in business in the country to be proud person that will talk. That I never ever hear these people from anywhere. If they think say they get anything to present them as they don't talk, my brother Eric be talk. Show we how much we don't give for the revolution. Me, I know what talk, so I don't contribute to the revolution as much, but I know say no in my own capacity, I give my own thing what I give for the revolution because I feel my hand reach. So I know go talk lie, I know go talk anything, but I want to tell the people they hear from my mouth because it don't be way too long. I want to go back to my house. I want to go back home. Maybe they hear all these people they talk. The real leader in the prison. And the reason why they catch that people because say that people they get vision. Now why do they go pick them up? Because they be know say they get vision. The rest they do for Europe, they pick them at the blink of an eye. They pick them, but they know say they get no use. That's why they don't just leave them. Maybe they create confusion inside we, and they will get mature people like we who don't come here, who don't suffer. I mean, any man tell one, I say, believe fine. I tell one, I will not believe fine. Because these people, they're very part of the world. They know one country. Every day they make a meal. No be needed. Me no man.
Thank you, comrade.
So thank you very much. And sorry, sir, be emotional, but we really need to.
No, that's fine. Now, just so we got many hands them up. But thank you. Thank you for your message to our people. Thank you. Powerful.
Evening, brothers and sisters, and also evening to Ground Zero. That is where my heart is, and that is where the leadership is. I really want to commend.
You can talk a bit louder.
Hello, did you hear me?
Yes.
Did you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, but it won't be loud enough.
Oh, no. What is going on?
But go ahead. Go ahead. We'll manage.
Oh, can you hear me now better?
Yeah. Yes, it's much better. Yes.
Okay. I want to commend my sister, Dr. Yaah Maggie, for your sacrifice, because whatever an individual do a research or can present to us, it is really commendable. It's because you have the heart and you want to share information, and information sharing is very, very powerful. And I will take from where Eleanor and Eric, they touch my heart very well. I always say we talk too much. Why did we leave Ambazonia to come abroad? I thought we left Ambazonia to come abroad so that we can step out of our comfort zone and talk to non-Ambazonian, bring our pain on the streets. And you will look every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we come into this town hall and bring all lofty ideas. And those ideas end within the four walls. And since this struggle started, you see, they have made conferences, they have attended conferences everywhere, and everything ends within those four walls of the conferences. I have attended them. And those that I have attended, I carry my camera. And before the conference ends, people who never attended that conference, I am the one who carries that information to the people. We are in the Western world. How can we tell people at home that we are in the Western world, and the people at home are the ones who are paying with their blood, they are paying with everything? Then we sit in our comfort zones, we talk and talk big. If you look all struggle, a true leader, you have to be in the battlefield. Samora Machel, Mugabe, and all these revolutionary guys, they fought the war. They know exactly what it means to be a revolution. But we have an opportunity whereby we can use that in the diaspora and raise funds to support these people and also get our image, our story out there. Every time we come in the house and back, but when we get out there, no one hears us. Is that really feasible? Not that I'm condemning anyone, but I could equally say we in Lowell, and anyone who comes from Boston knows what we have done here in Lowell. And that even La République targeted the city hall. They called the police department. They wrote letters about me because they know that it is effective. Our local radio station, the white guys who are here, if you watch the program, how can these guys be carrying our struggle? They are not connected to us. And they preach it every week. They have a program on their TV program every week. They spend at least 10 minutes talking about Ambazonians. So I equally say that if we really want to move forward, we should think and think twice again. Once you're already in jail, that in itself is a price to pay. And anyone who is out there, we should use our incarcerated leaders because they are already paying a price. The world knows about them. If If we can compare what happened in South Africa, Madiba he was and became and always is the face of the struggle in South Africa because they sympathize in him because he has paid. He paid a big price. We have people in the diaspora that they are leaders. Yes. Then we have our people in prison that they were our leaders. La République captured them. These people in the diaspora, they say they want to impeach them. And we shamefully stood up and bought that fiasco. I communicate with most of these people, our leaders in jail. At midnight, at odd hours, they give me information and say, when you go out there, be very, very careful of our safety. We should be fighting for them. Those are our leaders. The world knows that we have leaders in jail. And let me mention one thing. If you know all these people who are in jail, like the previous speaker said, they had something to do. Sisiko was already a professional. He was someone who had a job. He could pay his flight and support himself. He didn't need the struggle to support him. But any of these leaders, I don't like condemning people because the fingers are not correct. But in a struggle like this, I don't want us to be condemning others also because you never can see the true contribution of someone until it becomes evident. Let us dwell on what is good. I think in terms of the leadership, our leadership is in jail. And if we can rally behind that, that will be the greatest threat for La République. Since La République has control over them and we are so confused, we have actually forgotten about them and chasing the shadows out here, that they are the leaders. Oh, the whole world knows that, you know what, they have a rallying leadership in jail, but they are so confused. We are not, I really want to commend this forum and the sacrifices that you do to listen to what people, the contributions. But I ask myself, at the end of this discussion here, what is it that goes on? I have worked with the moderator and the rest, taking my own initiative and capture some of the headlines, because I know that information is only as valuable as if when it reaches the people. Whatever we say here ends here. How do we get this information out and play it over and over and over? So we should come up with a different strategy. And now that it has actually revealed itself, that we had people who were calling themselves leaders and that they fought for the revolution, it comes now, they are imploding. They are fighting it. They are fighting amongst them and tearing themselves down. So we should open our eyes and know that the rallying, the unity that we can need to move forward and be credible and united in front of the international community is to say our leaders are in jail. Last week, there was a call to liberate them. That is what we need. That is what we need. These other leaders who are who have a following, let them continue to do what they do. When Mandela was asked a question, what kind of system do you want to employ in South Africa? Communism, socialism, democracy, or what? He says, so long as it doesn't matter whether the cat is black, red, or white, so long as it brings home the catch, that is what we need. Any leader, any person who calls himself a leader and has a following, we should not spend time criticizing, but that person, let us spend time asking ourselves, not what Ambazonia has done for me, but what can I do to move Ambazonia forward. And I would equally say that wherever we are, please, Ambazonian, if we are really conscious about our efforts, whether you are in Berlin, you are in China, or you are, don't sit on your laurels. Get out and talk to a non-Ambazonian. Get out and talk to a non-Ambazonian, because these people are the ones, when we talk of the people, when we talk of people at the UN, all these ambassadors, what they start from local. If we cannot build local institutions and communicate with these people, I think we in the diaspora, we are really, I say we, myself included, I say we are really a disgrace to the people on the ground. So please, we should rally behind our leaders in jail. That's all I really want to talk. And that after every town hall, how can we summarize it in one hour message and condense it so that we send it to the various forums, and that information will go there. Thank you.
Thank you, Pafru. Thank you very much. Thank you. I know Yaah has been sitting with us for a long time. We will try to round it up. So we'll take the 3 remaining hands, and then we'll have to let Yaah go. Yaah, sorry, you've been sitting a long time. So let's just take 3 more hands, and then we'll let you give your final statement. Comrade Alem, good to have you back.
Thank you. I'm back. I would say I'm back 70%, and I'm still trying to at least catch up with what is going on in terms of the struggle. I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, 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 we can hear you.
I might repeat what I've said before. I heard what Comrade said, and a lot of those that spoke after her said. I'd like to first of all congratulate Maggie Kilo for an excellent presentation. I wish and I hope that a lot of Southern Cameroonians will be able to listen, and I'm using the word listen, not hear. We all heard you, but I don't know if we all listened. So I'm really hoping and wishing that a lot of us will be able to play this back again and listen to what it is that you said, and then we can be able to find out what pieces that we can also add to that to make it complete. Having said that, I will say this as I've said before, that our revolution is stagnant. Because we, and when I say we, I include most of us, even on the town hall meeting today, we still tend to pay alliance or allegiance to individuals versus institutions. And until the time that we get to the point where we shall have institutions that we work with, believe in, and that are actually there and set up for the people, we shall keep on saying the same thing. Let me give you a simple example. Nothing prevents me today from starting a new group, getting my own loyal followers and what have you. And then even if I choose to join an alliance group or join another commutative group, the next day I want to pull out, nothing prevents me from pulling out because there's no repercussions for that. And what I'm saying is because we, the people, have not yet gotten to the point where we have an institution that penalizes or punishes people who go against the people. I'm trying to make this very, very clear. Because listen, some comrades just mentioned here that we have all these different groups and leaders, and I want to distinguish something. And I'm going to use myself as an example. I don't want to say leader, I would say I'm the chairman of a group known as DAC, the Diaspora and Bosnian Community. As of now, we have about 400 plus members registered and growing, okay? Now, my leadership technically ends within the Diaspora and Bosnian Community, DAC. We have leaders like John Bayakuru, who are of the consortium, okay? We have leaders of various groups, but as of now, ever since the leadership in jail were picked up in Nigeria, unless I'm wrong, I don't think this revolution has a leader that represents the entire revolution. And there's a difference from that. Why am I saying this? If I'm wrong, someone correct me. Which leader, apart from Siseko Itabe, and there's the reason why he was picked up, and they went through all the, went through breaking international laws to pick him up for this particular reason. He was able to galvanize and bring together most, not all, not get all, most of the various leaderships of the different groups together. Now you keep on saying leaders, and I blame us because we are the ones who are fueling into that fire of calling people leaders, whereas they are leaders of groups and not leaders of the revolution. Again, I'm saying, once he was picked up and his people and his team were picked up, who do you think you can go up and say is a leader of the revolution? And I want you all to think about this very, very carefully, because that is the person that LRC will fear. That is the person that the LRC will go out and beyond and break rules and regulations to try and go after him. There's a reason why they went after those folks in Nigeria. Ever since then, has there been an attempt to go after another leader who represents the revolution, not a group? We mentioned, I heard one of the comrades mention the fact that I said to myself, listen, when a leader turns behind and there's nobody following him, he's no longer a leader. So for me, it's about educating the people about who is your leader, or educating the people as to what to look for in a leader. Because there are a lot of people, even on this town hall, who do not know what true leadership really is, or who should be a leader of the revolution. And until we get to the point, my brothers and sisters, where we, or those of you who are in a better position, who understand revolutions, start to educate other people about revolutions, we're not going anywhere. Now, I heard a mention here about the what's it called now? I just forgot. Maggie, I think she was one who was chaired this initiative to audit different groups. Somebody, I don't know if it was man or star, somebody brought that into our group a few weeks ago, and I told them, because then I was not in position to really talk, I was ill, and I told them that take DAC to be the first group to be audited. And I think they can stand by, if any of my members are on this group, they'll tell you that. I said, we should be the first to be audited. Not because I was trying to prove a point. No, I said that if this initiative builds momentum, what's gonna happen is only those groups that have been audited will be respected by the Southern Cameroonians. Right now, you need momentum. I started off this conversation by saying that we have about 400 people. If you go to all the groups, let me just say average, all these different groups have 400 people. And we have, what, 100 groups? That's what, 400,000 people, right? How does 400,000 people represent 8 million? And if that's the only case, again, and I'm just saying this, I'm just throwing out numbers out there. I'm using my group as an example. If we have 100 groups, which maybe we don't, and each of them have 400 people, which maybe they don't, 400,000 people to represent 8 million, then there's a problem. Then there's something that we're definitely missing. There should be at least, even if you look at the worst case scenario, 1 million Southern Cameroonians running when it comes to running and talk about putting in their efforts and their skills in whatever way they see possible for this revolution. And if we do not have up to 1 million, that's 1/8. I'm just talking about 1/8. If we don't have up to 1 million Ambazonians doing something for the struggle, either number one, they don't believe in it. That's the first thing. And if that's the case, we have a bigger issue up there, up or behind. Or number two, there's something that has been done wrong in the struggle, which needs to be corrected so that those who are on board can get back on board. So we need to start looking at, points. I know someone said that, okay, we come to town hall, we say the same thing over. Granted, right? If we have institutions, we can say, okay, right now we have Mabibi talking about doing for the various groups, checks and balances. That could be one thing that the town hall can take upon. And we have different groups. Town hall is a platform, by the way, it's not a group. So it's a platform that allows us to come and be able to, air our differences and converse, which is why we have people here of different acts of life, different groups being able to speak. We can use these different groups that are platforms, these different platforms that have been institutionalized right now and build them into institutions. Town hall communication, bringing people together. We have the CDN, which is also another platform that has also been introduced to bring people together. And I'm using the word platform because we have to differentiate between platforms and groups. Okay, we have another group, I think it was if I'm not mistaken, ARC. Everybody has some sort of coalition, a certain sort of coalitions, but there has to be a point in time when we stop coaliting, or if that word even exists, and we start acting. That's what I'm saying. So in terms of building institutions, we can say, okay, this project that Namibia has begun, we invite all the different groups, and I will talk to my financial person as well, because I don't know if that has been done, but like I said, I've been out of this for a while. But this is why should you not be audited? If you have a group does not want to be audited, then you should explain why they don't want to be audited. And the Southern Cameroonians will determine if that reason is valid or not. If it's not valid, they just move it to the side as we've always done. I don't know why we have done this. It's a simple thing. A long time ago, we had what was this? There were three people who were of the Constitution: Dr. Fontaine, Bala, and Tassan. I will not say they were leaders of the revolution. No, these are the people that stood up and were at the forefront and doing what they did best. At some point, Bala felt like he wanted to go a particular direction, and people just let him be. Why can we not still adopt? That has always been the Southern Cameroonian spirit. Even back to the days of Ndele, when somebody went against the people, we didn't chastise them, we didn't insult them, we didn't want to hang them upside down or, worst case, take their lives. No. We just abandon them. The people just abandon them and move on. I don't know if this current generation, if we are in touch with our parents, maybe that's what is missing, to figure out exactly. I'm not saying that we should remain stagnant in the 1920s or 30s, but there's value in those days that we can definitely use today that we've lost, to be able to propagate and move ourselves forward. If we can discuss with our parents, maybe it's time for us to bring our parents into such platforms as Town Hall or CDN or ACT or whatever is out there, and have our parents who lived the life of Southern Cameroonians in those days tell us what it was like. Because right now our focus is on the fighting and on that stuff. But when you remember that at 8 o'clock in the morning, you were served milk for free, by the way. When you remember that you could go to the post office and mail something, I think it was a couple of pennies, and you were not, all the people that work at the post office were audited randomly at any given time. When you remember that people back in those days built their houses without fences, when you remember all these stories, I think most of us in the younger generation will know truly what it is that we're fighting for. And until we get to that point where we know what we are fighting for, the fight is useless. There are people in there right now who are fighting because got married to their stepsister, or somebody in the diaspora gave them money to go and do. We have to eradicate or find a way to eradicate all those reasons. We need to know why we are fighting for this flag, this particular flag, the Ambazonian flag, the Southern Cameroonian flag. So for me personally, in as much as people talk about arms and people talk about defense, one of the most important things that we need to focus on and invest in as Southern Cameroonians is education, the mind. Because once we can do that, everything else will fall into place. I yield.
Thank you, Comrade Allen. And yeah, I promise you, we just have 2 more hands, no more after that. Let's take Comrade Grand Manu and then Mark Chinje, and that will be it, yeah. So Comrade Grand Manu.
Well, Comrade Grand Manu, on behalf of Manu, I'm coming forward to just applaud you all for the wonderful day we had today. I just want to actually emphasize on the coming together thing. And I heard one of the comrades was talking about misleadership. Misleadership is just that symbol for those who are just purporting to be the leaders of this revolution and pushing it to extremes while people are dying on the ground. You know, a lot of them are just there for their own good. So if we are coming together, we should come together on behalf of Ground Zero. And when I talk of Ground Zero, I'm talking of our leaders in jail. They are the symbol of the revolution. We should not lose focus. But in as much as we should not put them directly as the face of the revolution, we should not also lose focus on getting traction. And getting traction is putting something in motion and getting it to work. I know we have all these ideas like, you know, doing audits and all those type of things, but that is just still something like not too feasible at this time. I want to look at criteria for doing an audit. I don't think there's anybody here who will be able to come forward and like, because to be able to do an audit, we have to have the expense report. We have to have all the different transactions that were made on the ground. It's not just giving us paperwork and stuff like that. I know I talked with Mama B on this thing, and we discussed lately the implications as to trying to have these audits. But in as much as we are still there trying to root for stars like that, we should not forget the way forward. The way forward, as I said, which was hatched from this platform, Coalition for Change. Everybody has been given their own idea on the way forward. I think what we need is traction. We start with the little we got, we start going, and people will flow. That was my take.
Thank you, Grandmanu. Thank you. It's well taken. And I think that's part of our effort, trying to get traction, trying to get that critical mass. Like Comrade Eleno said, we don't need everybody. We just need what Gene Sharp calls the critical mass, which is just that number enough to tilt that balance. It doesn't even have to be 50% or 40%, but just enough, you know, to tilt it. That's what we are trying to do. And thank you for that. So yeah, we have our last hand, and then you will give the closing remarks, and that's Comrade Mark Chinje. You can go ahead, Comrade Mark.
Yeah, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, good evening, Yaah Maggie. Thank you very much for your good expose. Yeah, then we go brush quickly my own analysis. We talk about the evolution of our struggle. Of course, it's normal we are at this point. We are at this point because it had to be so. Things cannot just move smoothly like that as you wish. No, you have to have some steps. You get some backwards, you get some forwards, and so on and so forth. Now you get what you call methods. The methods now, how, which you get at our disposal, which tools, and so on and so forth. So it make people that use which way they fit for try for fight with them. Then we get the time factor. As time to move on, we get education problems, and then we get people that die, people that suffer. And then we get that problem, say we need to always query, we need to constantly query, which did happen with our leaders and with the jail. Then we get this problem for persistent emotion in passion, which will they be too passionate about things that we know. They get to remove a little bit of passion. They go to use always in the sense of judgment, where we'll get to at least be logical. Else we'll lose our senses. Then finally, we were a turning point. We do a turning point where, you know, we don't climb hill. We don't climb up that hill, and then we'll get to go down. But the problem now, as we go down, how we will do? We need credibility, because now credibility will take we forward. And the credibility, and I say, people they got confidence for themselves, and then for we, which we will produce and which we will give a show for them. Because we will talk about leadership, which is leadership. Now the components that they are around leadership is something that you build them up. You build up a leadership. If you take, we'll talk about the people in the jail, yeah, but if you get back to 2007, 2016, and so on and so forth, but they be composed of the people that be at that moment where they be do the things. But now we get people that they're outside. If you count, do you have the same quality? Do you have the same components? No, you don't get them. So now there we'll get for the clear away the factor of comparison. No, we'll put them aside, because I always put things in a sense of evolution. Because that last build, it don't be destroyed, then adventurism come in. It come in with a lack of vision. By the way, today, it will be yesterday. And tomorrow will always be tomorrow, and it will be today again. So things already happen. Now we go for the think. The struggle to move on. There's nothing wrong. No, the struggle to move on, but it gets some ups and downs, and we'll get for inject new ideas, and we'll get for put people away. They really be motivated, and they be really I say the cause it be like Nadia, day in, day out, breathe. And then the one thing we're going to take them to now is constant education. Educative communication, and the thing would lack them now. A lot of people don't know, still know we know the seize opportunities. And for example, for France now, they get presidential elections. We don't get any, because me, I know the group. But if we get people with the big groups, now there's opportunities and then they go to see them for the right, for the people that way they fight against the president or the oppositions. So the lack the seizure of opportunities. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, comrade. Thank you for your suggestions to the town hall. And we hope, say, we go take everything we would learn today, we go digest them, and as comrade, as many of people that don't talk, we know if we just can't talk, and then go. The problem is we need to step up. I don't talk from the beginning of this meeting today, say, we know if it outsource our liberation struggle. In other words, we get to step up, and we get to make use of this information, and we get to reach out, and we get for educate our fellow people, as Comrade Mark just talked. Yeah, before you give your final remark, I just want to put this picture on the screen. Make me see and think about this, because this is where we are. And many people then think, say, instead of us going for the key to liberate ourselves, we follow Wusa Wufi chop. You know, they be more interested in filling their stomachs. They don't know, say, we are all in jail. We are all being subjugated. We are all being oppressed. And what we do for this town hall today, now for educate our people, say, we need to get that key and we need to prepare, because when we come out that jail, that bread will be gone. If we take the key, that bread will leave. What are we going to do after that? Most of our people today, all this thievery and confusion and interfighting and posturing is all about for them to fulfill their belly. Forgetting, say, the important lesson is to get that key so we can free ourselves and make our own bread and feed ourselves. So hopefully we don't get a good lesson from today's show. Yeah, as our special guest today, I will give you the last word.
Yeah, I first of all want to thank everybody, really, from the bottom of my heart, for the patience. When I don't sit down here, so you don't be past the o'clock. At least, you know, it shows, say, you know, this presentation, especially this last piece, will be very important for me. Everybody don't sit down, watch. I want to thank the people where they helped me also for things together, especially my brother Herman. We do some very good gymnastics with that slides then for keep people entertained. I know show the entire all the slides, and I not show the text, everything. I not actually make the full presentation because I realize it will be very long, but I just focus on the things where it will make we think about the kind of country we will get one forget. And make us say this to everybody. If we do a nice plan, it is as good as money in the bank, because it will buy with the support we need for end this war. When this problem be start, I first be here, Anglophone, there's no Anglophone problem. Okay, there's no Anglophone problem whatsoever. Then slowly we get to a point where they start saying, oh, well, na internal matter, etc., etc. We don't get to the point now where La République don't actually accept, say, there is a problem. But wait, they don't do. They don't do a lot of cosmetics. Wait to be special status. Wait to be a regional whatever, bilingualism commission. Everybody for international community know, say, La République they hurt we, they do bad for we, and it be very difficult because say we dey inside a sovereign territory for intervene, for help we. So that means that we get for do things for ourselves. We get for do. We get the manpower, we get the intelligence, we get the resources. We all day out here and we get the resources. That country, they make $3 million a day on we backs from we territory. They use the money for buy arms for can shoot we. Now the reason that we are tweet the other day say, if we papa them, they be no. So now the kind thing this way we will live. So now the kind way this way that we suppose brothers they go treat we. They're not for agreement to start this work. But remember, say then say slave don't tell me say. Now we fight this for fight till the end. So make we call criminals inside the middle when we know say criminals and be. Because we people then be good people. If we don't allow the criminals, they don't take over, we struggle, we get for take, we struggle back. So the purpose of this, my presentation for Una, it be really busy, make we reignite the passion for we struggle, we bring back the professionals, we get to work, we build that folder, it be the folder where we will take go give international community. Because with diplomacy, he insists, so we must get a folder with them. We not get nothing. And look, all the talented people in here. Look all the fantastic work we don't do for him. We not go allow people the way we know say are criminals for destroying. And if we look back, we go see say if we go back there, we go be worse than slaves. So we must find the thing where it go take we, propulse we forward, make we go to the end. We reach that we country and we make them a country where it will work for we and for we children. The people they don't over suffer. They don't over suffer. And we remind them all we serve how they don't suffer and which we will want to make them do. So I plead for anybody where you get any idea about how we can move these things forward. Just know, say, if you not call me for can make this presentation, I go give you the full presentation because I know if you do it today. But so many different things and they inside that the team make a talk say, I will make them available to everybody. So you can see the things in way I suggest, but give you a total holistic picture, and then we fix the country for ourselves. We can do it. We really can. And I thank you all very, very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yaah. Thank you. And I feel assure you say your message and your presentation today don't resonate far and wide. It don't even move Comrade Eric to sit up and begin to do his own post-conflict plan. So we thank you very much. We no go, we no say Mira be put we on the spotlight, say even if not till 9 o'clock, we must get a face of this revolution today. So before we go, Comrade Mira, if you still there, I don't know how we fit choose the face today. We know say most people that are here today, they don't agree, say our leaders are in jail. So Comrade Mira, you there before we close? Oh, release them.
Release them. Release them.
We need to hear you clearly.
You hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm a bit so emotional because of the so many things that go on for this revolution.
You be low.
I be low.
Yes.
Now, if you give me 1 minute, I come back, maybe some code on kind of step.
Okay. All right. Mo, just give Mira 1 minute. She was.
Yes, we get to do everything, make them release with people from jail.
Yes. I be actually, thank you. May I bring back the release them campaign? While we wait, Comrade Mira, for let our people know, say this campaign is still ongoing. It never ends. May we go to the website, make we sign the petitions, make we share them with our local communities, our churches, our local newspapers, like Pa Fru Kimbang talk, just talk to the person next to you, your neighbors, your communities, and tell them about this campaign. We don't even get some French Francophone the way they don't sign the campaign, they share them in their own forums. So make we do what we get for do to get our people released. Like Comrade Barrister Michel Doki talk. Now only naming and shaming those people then for Yaoundé, they make them move. So maybe we'll keep the campaign going. Comrade Mira, yes, we hear you now.
Well, sorry, I be a bit too emotional at that time while they talk because I be don't just tired. I'm just tired, like really tired. I mean, we know if we continue to talk all these things, leaders out here, leaders out there, and then I whole meeting this way, leaders, they will represent themselves, they don't represent themselves. I really get a problem with those leaders. And so I love for leaders for jail, but if I get one advice, so I go talk for leader President Siseko right now. I go talk, say, Mr. Siseko, come out, make it denounce that government thing. It's not working for the people of Amazonia. May it try for see and me work with the people then. May they use the bottom top approach. May the people that be able to talk. So we like this person like leader because right now for 4 years, Amazonia they don't know who they work for this revolution, who they feel be get that leadership skill for lead them. And so if President Siseko, he hear me with the cabinet for jail, me it to get to come out to try for accept my people them. I don't hear una cry. Who una want me stand for here? Mo biki do the thing. But if you ask my opinion, I'm not going to even lie you. What I don't see today where you are my vision for the. Now that the leader that they face that, and it's high time. If the women they feel come out rally behind the Yamagi, if we have a plan, let's go. Because the woman themselves they don't feel over just make some kind of thing they would vex. Now we picking that they kill her every day. Now we the hear pain when we born carry picking for 9 months born. They kill her every day and we can't shut off here, we play. Even you go for all that 1,000 WhatsApp group, then they post now, they laugh, they play, they insult each other. That's how we have become. So it's such a shame. I just beg. Say for me, if you ask that face, I'll tell you, say, yeah, Maggie Kilo is time for them at the face. Let's take her and go.
Yeah, turn on your camera. Well, Mira, I join you. If you ask me who, and I think say Comrade Mandible, we talk the same thing, you know. So now for hope say go be willing for continue this. I know say a lot of people they listen to you. I don't know say I go ahead and turn off your camera. So, but either did it since we start, so maybe it take a break. But that one, I think, the way we'll go elaborate behind the scenes, talk with you first, get your consent, and then move our people in that direction. Comrade Elena, you want to talk something?
Yes, I'll be very sorry, say I put on my hand after your door closed. But I just read a comment in the chat, and I feel the necessity to comment. Ambas Bay wrote, the CDN and its recent conference were spawned in La Republique as a forum to work toward unifying Cameroon by facilitating dialogue with the view to foster unity. This may not have been the CDN's intent, but that is what the headlines say. As somebody where it be there for Toronto, and as a delegate where it did in the CDN forum, I think say I get the obligation for making a remark on this comment. This is a false representation of what happened. This is a false representation of what is happening. The CDN is a facilitating platform. The Southern Cameroon, or the people that are in that platform, which is 90 whatever percent Southern Cameroonians, are the decision makers. If anything that the CDN is facilitating fails, blame us, the Southern Cameroonians, and not the CDN. We do what we want to do. They only facilitate, they guide us, but the decisions at the end are our own. So if it fails, please blame us, do not blame the CDN. I just wanted to make this one clear. Thank you, Pato.
Okay, thank you. So please let us round up. Dr. Fontaine, if you want to say what you have to say so that we can go. We've been, yes, go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. I want to queue up with the last speaker, where he called Yaah. I think for a long time for this struggle, we don't, even we, some of the men there, Mr. Moderator, you will agree with me and other men there inside this house, we don't be fed up with some of the ways the way we men there would behave. The spirit of entitlement, where you don't come for pervade this struggle. You don't make them for way at some point, some people them they even regret why they will get involved in this thing in the first place. But each time we come town hall, we leave or would walk inside platforms the way people they don't come together, forsake their differences. They come together, they walk. When you see the result, you ask yourself why other people they know also forsake their differences and come together, they work on a joint platform. So I think I want to queue up now for place where Namira talk. Yes, I want to Mira talk. But talk say I want for table emotion, and I want to make somebody second that motion. Say make we set up. I think I put down for English so that makes sound so that I will easily conceive the idea, more constructively, because usually for parliamentary procedure, it is hard for table emotion for pidgin. I think I will go for learn how for drum. So I want to move a motion and be it moved that that Maggie Kilo be designated to head a committee that will set up the coordination of the way forward in our liberation struggle. I want to move a motion and be it moved that Southern Cameroonians gathered today in this town hall designate Yaah Kilo to set up a working committee that will design the way forward in our liberation struggle based on all the discussions that we have had today. Thank you.
Dr. Fontaine, I would say that setting up a committee is another prolongation. Then she has to set up a committee, then come back. What I'm reading in the charts, if you're reading the charts, people are calling for us to have her as the face of the revolution. And then we can then have her work now to set up this committee. Because the motion...
I've already gone to phase 2. So maybe we take the phase 2. So modify the motion, please, and then let
let me say something towards Dr. Fontaine. I think Doc has a big point here. We should not also just go out there and put Yaah under criticism or people trying to bash her. If she goes out there, gets herself as the person to lead that committee, because the way out, we should not confuse the leaders in jail with any other leader. The only connection we can make into the leaders in jail is get into this committee. We call those committee leadership committee, which will comprise of different leaders of choice that were brought together to try to, actualize the plan of moving into ground zero. And which at this time, diplomacy to me is one of the strongest points. So if we get somebody like Yaah to start this situation, start assimilating all those leaders who have that vision. It is just like heading that committee. She can head that committee, and the International Town Hall is going to rally behind her. No matter who we bring to the coalition, we're just going to know that she is the person to chair that committee. So committees will lead this thing forward. But we cannot use leadership again in that sense because we already have leadership. That is my take.
I thought people are talking more about a face outside since the leadership is in jail, a face outside.
Can I come in there?
It will cause confusion. It will cause confusion. Let's not just go there.
Let other people talk now.
Yeah, let's not go
there.
Cause confusion.
Comrade Ebai, and let us raise our hands. Comrade Ebai, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm out of work. I just said I've been following quietly. So on this particular point, I think that the speaker who raised the issue, I think it's Comrade Mira, was very clear when she said the leadership in jail should be consulted so that we work in consultation, because we cannot come here and say that there is a vacuum. Of course, we know that the leadership in jail is amply represented out here. So if there is anything which I don't have any contrary view, if Yaah Maggie is presented as rightly put by Comrade Rishi, that at least something like a small committee, which will be the consultative committee, to try to see how the various like-minded groups already, because we know already those groups that have like-minded, philosophy as far as this revolution is concerned. So I think that responsibility in buying the supporting that motion should be limited to consultative, approach to make sure that the various groups are consulted. Then if we can now meet, if it means even face to face in a grand, whatever convention or confab or something, because we cannot sit online and do the same mistakes that have been going on and on. Now, if we have to be serious, let's be serious. And I think the motion can still go ahead, but with some amendments. Because just like Comrade Rishi said, we cannot come again and be talking about leadership when all the like-minded groups are not together. I still buy the idea 100% that Yaah Maggie is the right person as a lady, and we have seen, I just want to shout out to her presentation, because that is actually what we want, a blueprint that the international community can buy and understand that these people know what they are fighting for. Thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Ebai. It's good that we have these discussions. That's the whole idea of the platform, where we can come and have civil debates. So, Dr. Fontaine, let's just have people put in, so we have a democratic.
Mr. Moderator,
Yes.
Mr. Moderator, someone has already seconded the motion, and that is Ntoko Suzy. I see it in the forum. She has seconded the motion, and it means that without any counter to the motion, Yaah Maggie, and I think what Comrade Ebai has said is critical. I think Yaah Maggie will, the only thing that we need to do is give them terms of reference, clear terms of reference, so that Yaah Maggie can be empowered to do the consultation and come up to the town hall with what the results of the consultation are. It is for the people to decide.
Can others speak? Can others speak?
Please.
Can others speak, please?
Yes, let them put up their hands so that we can go down the list.
My hand has been up. My
hand is up. I like to speak.
Okay, wait.
I like
Okay,
that.
let me read the list I am seeing. The list I am seeing in front of me right now has Ma Anasta, V Kilo, me, Gilles, Eleanor, Fontaine. Those are the hands I see up. Don Pasho, I don't see your hand up.
My hand has been up. My hand has been up.
Where on the list on your hand set is your hand? Who is before you or after you?
If I put my hand up at the chance and I'm here at the face.
I need to see your hand.
May Don Pasho talk first, better.
Okay, Don Pasho talk. Man, I start bed. May you talk because I need to see your hand. Seriously. Go ahead, Don Pasho.
When are they listening for we, they will talk for year. To be honest, man, talk this talk for pigeon because I will talk fine. When I listen for we will talk for year. To be honest, the problem for Ambazonia now we. Now we so get now we the big problem for ourselves. We there for year now we talk say with the nominate fees. Wait, I believe that this town hall, people there for year for alliance, they be go to Toronto for Canada. Canada, when they there for, I believe say the groups and there for year, then there for inside some forum where they deliberate something on how to work out collaboration. Wait, it don't happen with those things. Secondly, we not fit come for Zoom where every day now that's what Zoom don't fail we. If you try to they don't enter, say they don't spoil Zoom. They don't spoil winner because of Zoom. Me and they talk say Maya na infiltrator na mami when me respect you. If they say me vote to that vote, I will vote. Because I don't tire the man picking the all women picking the we don't fail with it. Don't fail them. But if we not do this thing the right way, we go only continue for the fail and fail and fail.
What to be the right way to pass every one time?
Can we work for say we work on a possible conference, physical conference? Can we work on whether we call a conference or whether we call a conflict, whether we call a convention? Let the people's voice speak. 51 people cannot speak on the behalf of Ambazonians. Let the people's voice speak. We not go to quarter conference for say, nah, leader them for AGOC, leader for IG, leader for this side, leader for this side. Let the people speak. Call an all Ambazonian conference. Let the people's voices be heard. If the people's voices have been heard, the decisions that have been taken, the people will dance to those decisions. We will not make something for year. We put with mommy way there for year, we honor them. We hold on the egg. We go put in there for outside the day, fall for your head, wash them.
Not be the first time this. Not be the...
Okay. Okay. Don Pasho, you don't finish your point. May we hear everybody your opinion, and then we will make a better decision. Because although Don Pasho, you talk say call conference, you need to talk who they go work for call the conference. You say maybe call leaders, who go call the leaders. You say town hall need to do this, who go do them. So we not only talk. When people they try for say, let us set up somebody where if you lead a committee for do this thing then you come again talk say, no, we no do this, no, we no put in name. We try to figure out how we fit package this thing so that may it work. If it need for head a committee, we go reach out to the leaders, we go set up the conference. Me, I don't see anything wrong with that. Unless you want to run the show, call the committee.
No name and for some way, comrade. My problem is
Don Pasho is right. Don Pasho is right.
I think
Don
Don
Pasho is very right.
absolutely
Don Pasho is very right.
I see what he's saying.
Yes,
That's
he's
what
very
I was
right.
May we hear man
I
Nasta.
get something to say.
May we go down the line,
already
please.
A plan.
May we
have a
take man
plan that is
Nasta.
already out there. I wanted to make that public. There is a plan on the Coalition for Change that is already out there. That plan is stipulating that we have these committees of leadership that will be tied to the main leadership structure in jail. The committee of leadership is the committee that's going to be running these affairs. And one thing which is going to be able to be the breaker is the treasury. The treasury part of it is that we gather treasurers from all the other groups and put them into another pool of committee of treasurers. And then
let us be organized. One, let us go down the line and let us take one thing at a time. Because we are trying to talk about one thing and then you are shooting in with another committee, then everything is confused. Are we talking about what is on the floor or are we talking about what you have? Because those are two different things.
Let me just finish my point. I will not talk again. All right, this is my last point. This issue about this committee is that the leadership committee that we are proposing Maggie to be part of one. That leadership committee, she can come up with leadership of about 8 or 10 people. That will be like our face, but the face is not to be confused with the face in jail. All right, which means that subcommittees will be working under them. Apart from the fact that we have committees which will control in treasury, which will be from different subgroups. We'll also have other committees which are part of the structuring of this whole revolution, which will be taking care of other things, you know, which are also part of the things that we are fighting for. So those committees will form themselves. So a bunch of committees will be formed to run this thing. But how do we get there? Against what Don Pasho is saying that we should call a meeting and summon Ambazonians, thousands of them, to a particular venue. I think Zoom does it all. We can have those other different groups. We arrange one person that has a group Zoom that can take 500 to 1,000 people. We can use that Zoom group that day, and each group represents their own people. We come in there, people can jump into that Zoom group, about 1,700, whatever we call it. will be better than people going around the world and getting confused and going to get harm or someplace. So this is the take. And this issue has already been, discussed and actually documented on Coalition for Change, which I've been talking about. I put the link on the forum there. Once we go with that vision, we will be in Boya in less than a year. I guarantee you guys. That is it. That formula will not, it's been thought of, it's been calculated, and a lot of people have brought it, and the same people, a lot of people are repeating the same ideas, just in different ways. So I yield. I think that is what I have for today. Thank you guys for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Manasta, your hand is up. Next.
Okay. Thank you, Comrade Dr. What I hear again is a lot of fears of who is losing leadership and who is staying in leadership. The last comrade just said something, that there is a committee of a leader of change or whatever. How do we know all of these things if we don't consult each other, if we don't have a committee that we can start having these ideas put together so that we solve the problem once and for all. Now, whenever we come up with something in the town, people will always tell us that somebody A or B is doing it. But at the end of the day, we are in the same hot spot. We are in a state of emergency in this revolution. We no longer have time. It's not about people are dying, that people are not dying, they are killing our people because we are weak. Let's face the facts. And if I want to go a little bit more before people will say you are rude, maybe I'm rude small. If I want to go, will not be accept say the thing where it don't be for 4 years. It need made a reconstruct them. And if the people where they get to reconstruct them, they don't be ready for reconstruct them, most time you wait on them. How una one make accept say CDN now the same thing like thing we talk for year. CDM can sell for we an idea, say they want bring peace and they want everybody on board, whether you be a bush side or whether you be unionist, so because for their own say after this revolution, may we get peace. We'll listen to them, we'll accept them, and then work on it. Now we will talk on something to better coordinate our revolution. Somebody will still can tell we say, Wusa CDN, Wusa Woodies, Wusa Woodies. Now, one may do how. If we put a commission now, we also to try to put a commission, call Yaah Maggie face or call leader to consult whoever. We all don't decide. We all know say the leadership in jail, naive the leadership in jail. We also know say he get a representative out there. But if the representative they act like a group, more get revolution because of personal precepts say the leader. Now, the only way for me to break through this barrier, we are set in the name of government. Now, say this committee will form and will consult with every one other committee. Any man will not say don't form some committee when you already do something. They don't put a link. Any idea where the people can make a move for that link. This idea it will land for Yaah Maggie table, it will look or it will land for town where table. They will look from there, pick the ideas, then see how we continue for work for form this committee for break this barrier. We'll not keep on to repeat ourselves every day. Say we have a government, we have leadership, we need this, but we need to move one step. People need to contribute, people need the fight need to go on. We die every day, and no one won't change anything. I'll be sorry. Thank you.
Thank you.